But now reality begins when infatuation ends. 'Cause this feeling is too strong to hide. I wanna fall so deep in love, but I gotta know, is it in your heart? Is it really what you want to do? Can you hear the love when music is singing yes? My heart is carrying a heavy load. I knock on your door if I thought your heart would let me in. Your game of love is difficult sometimes to win. I ask myself why I endure when I should search anew, but the answer always seems to be you're the one for me. They say that love is blind, also hard to find. Just listen to your heart and don't give up. You know, you never said to me that you fell in love. Just covered up emotions when you said you want more. The things you need are right here with me. All you need is one. What you love for you. Got me out of love again, but no one to get into. You're the one to be you. You're the one. You're the one for me. In this game of love, I really want to win. Oh, you're the one. You're the one for me. Baby, we've been through too much to just get I don't need to look no further for love. You're the one. You're the one. Oh, such misery. Hold me home. If you should try to leave my world, but even then, it might be true. I'd be better off without you to leave me in pain. Started out a game, no, it's not the same. I just can't explain how I left you begin to hurt. Tell me that I love you tonight. You think you realize you're the one. It may take a while, but I'm gonna hold on. 'Cause baby, you're the one, you're the one, you're the one, you're the one. I can't hide it. You can disguise it. Hey, what's up, everybody? This is For Black Righteous Folks Home, or you can call me For Black for short. Today, I want to talk a little bit about what Tariq Nasheed, his last video that he did recently, where he talked about our identity. He is the person who created FBA, which is Foundational Black American. Unfortunately, it's only known on YouTube for the most part, social media, Twitter. I don't think that it's known in the major organizations that it needs to be known in. However, it's the beginning of us claiming our ownership of our identity.
I don't subscribe to FBA only because Tariq sometimes I feel is a grifter. But I think that we all, as Black Americans, have a right to declare your own identity, your own ownership of your identity, because there are people roaming about, trying to claim us, trying to take ownership over us, trying to rule over us, mainly Pan-Africans and mainly Western Africans who feel like they are deserving of being served. And this is not what we're doing in 2025. And I hope that this video would reach out to various people who is curious about why there are so many other foreign Blacks who are interested in what we call ourselves. And the reason why they're so interested in what we call ourselves is because they desire to have ownership over us. That's what it all boils down to. I figured it out. It took a while. They would like to have ownership over us. And we, as Black Americans, are not African. We had an ethnogenocide, if I'm pronouncing that right, an ethnogenocide. We are not the same. We are multi-race people at this point. And throughout the history of being in America, we have been given these names that were issued to us by the government, categories. They would call us Negroes. Some were called mulatto. Some were called colored. Some were called Afro-American. Some were called freedmen. Some were called Black. And then this made up term, which really messed us up, was African American. And I rebuke and refuse that term, because that term has given ownership over us by claiming that we're African American. And no one subscribed to that notion as Americans in America. So yes, we're gonna, and this again is not to be anything about hating anyone. I don't hate Africans or anything, but I do desire to have ownership over my own identity. And I don't want to have any foreigners having anything to do with what I call myself, nor any ownership over what I do in my life, what my plight would look like, and what my allegiance would fall for. No one has the right to try to impose their will onto Black Americans as to what they desire for them to be like, because they said so. But this is what Pan-Africans have been trying to do for a long time. They've been trying to get ownership over Black Americans like cattle, like sheep, stamping us, trying to stamp us with this identity of African when we had an ethnogenocide and we're totally separate from anybody. We have our own identity after all this time, and I declare that my identity is indigenous to America. And it makes a lot of people upset, makes a lot of people uncomfortable, but you guys are going to have to get used to it, because there's millions upon millions of people that are declaring their own identity. They might not call themselves Indigenous American like me. They might say Aboriginal. They might say Moorish. They might say Indian. They might say FBA. They might say ADOS. They might say freedmen. They might even say Negro still. But we're not one thing anymore. We had a ethnogenesis, which is what I want to talk about today. I hope that Africans and other foreign Blacks that listen to me would start respecting what we have gone through, just like other groups have gone through, and their own ethnogenesis. And everybody receives their identities as being their identities. The only issue that people are having is Black Americans claiming an identity. What is up with that? Why is it so hard for people to grasp over the understanding that we have to empower ourselves this time and not be allowing other immigrant groups to come and seize our name, claiming our name, and disallowing us for having our own ethnicity? This is what's been going on over the last 20, 30 years that I did not even know of. Since being on YouTube has taught me a lot. I've been observing for quite a while, and I have learned that so many people desire to be us. So many melanated groups of people that come from the Caribbean and from Africa desire to replace us and become us. So they think that they're entitled to use names that were issued to us by the government and saying we're the same as you. Disallowing our history, dismissing our efforts here in America as Americans, everything that we have accomplished as a unit of people of our own, even though we were slaves at one time or sharecrop holders at one time or owners of a land mass of our own that was taken from us and reassigned a name against our will, robbed of everything that was connected to us in this land for hundreds of years. People want us to forget about everything and just pretend like we're slaves, like back 400 or 500 years ago. Oh, you're just like every other person that was on a ship and you're nothing special. Well, yeah, we are, just like you're special in your own little way. Just like Jamaicans have their own little history. Just like Haitians have their own little history, and everybody else has their own little history and their own little accomplishments and their own little reasons for being who they are and where they were born. Nobody goes against none of those people, though, and say, no, you can't call yourself that. You can't think yourself something specific to you, except for us. This movement that's been playing out on social media by Pan-Africans, Pan-African liars, who, because they espouse this new movement, this trend, because it feels good on YouTube, as you sit up on YouTube and you talk to Africans or other Pan-Africans from other places, it feels good to feel like you're getting to know somebody. But these people are ultimately trying to be wolves in sheep clothing to us as our ethnicity is trying to be devoured and claimed away by other people. And we have decided not to allow that to be. And that is why a lot of people are so upset. What's up, Misty? How are you doing? Thank you for coming through. You said, stay out of our business, melanated foreigners. Exactly. But they don't know how to do that. And we're going to get to that and why. Let's first start with what the meaning of ethnogenesis is. For those that do not know what that is, let me find that first. If you guys could, please hit the like button. Please share, subscribe. Again, this is not meant to be hate speech. I respect everybody's identity. But the problem is people don't respect our identity. They don't respect that we have about 3 or 4 different bloods running through our veins, and we are just a different breed of people. We're not ashamed of how the different bloods came to be. We're okay. We're not going to feel shame because we didn't have nothing to do with it. But it made us be who we are in our survival by the grace of God. So we appreciate God and all that he's done to protect us despite everything we've been through. And people are really upset that we want to claim every aspect of us, but they want to carve out what they think is doable for us to receive. And what they want to carve out is this notion that we're Africans and that we came from Africa, and that's the only thing that we are. Dismissing our Americanness, dismissing the wars that we fought in, dismissing the civil rights, dismissing everything that we've been through to earn our stripes to earn our position, our birthright. And I'm not having it. Therefore, I'm going to talk about this today. And that's that. You can go somewhere. You don't have to be here, Reaper. Goodbye. Let me see here. Put you on timeout and think about it. Think about it. All right, so let's get first to this first video. Fair use. All videos for educational purposes. For reality checks realized and lies denied under 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976 for commentary, education, observation, research, scholarship, all of the above, using videos to help with showing the information, not meant to impose, but to inform. Let's go.
The ethnogenesis of foundational Black Americans. An ethnogenesis has occurred among foundational Black Americans. They have evolved over time through an ethnogenesis in which they evolved from Black Aboriginals to foundational Black Americans. This image conveys a powerful message about the inherent imbalance and inequality that can be present in the life of foundational Black Americans. This surreal depiction highlights the contrasting experiences people might face, emphasizing the idea that life at the FBA is not always fair. In the scene, the figure standing at the edge of the cliff symbolizes the foundational Black individuals reflecting on these disparities. The juxtaposition of the lush greenery and barren wasteland serves as a metaphor for the unequal distribution of fortune, resources, and opportunities. The divided sky with its bright sunlight and dark stormy clouds further reinforces the notion of life's unpredictability and the stark contrast between different experiences. Note the floating uneven scales in the sky represent the imbalance of fairness and justice in life. This imagery suggests that despite efforts to achieve balance, external forces and circumstances often tip the scales unevenly, leaving some at an advantage while other foundational Black Americans struggle. Overall, this surreal artwork evokes a sense of contemplation and poignance, inviting viewers to reflect on the complexities and inherent inequalities that are part of the foundational Black American experience. This image portrays a Black man with wings evolving from origin as Black Aboriginals, wearing a traditional Aboriginal American headdress into a contemporary foundational Black American. The left side of the image begins with the figure adorned in full Aboriginal American attire, including the iconic feathered headdress. As the transformation progresses toward the center, wings start to emerge, symbolizing freedom and the blend of cultural heritage. Finally, on the right, the figure completes its evolution into a modern.
And yes, some of us were even considered Black Indians at one point in time. His video, for some reason, is kind of dragging to me. So what I want to do is go to the dual history of Black Americans with mixing up with other races of people here in America. I found a very good video that talked about that. Let me see if I can find her. It is from Mirka C. Blueprint, if I'm pronouncing it right. Mirika, Marika C. Blueprint. She's going to explain some of the dual heritage of Black Americans, having indigenous history also. She likes to use the term African American, which I don't really like, but a lot of us are still stuck on stupid with that term, especially if you were young or weren't born when that term was used in the beginning. You don't know how it was brought about like I do. I was around when Jesse Jackson came up with that, posing that on to us in 88. And I never liked that term. Something about it just rubbed me the wrong way. I felt like something was up with that. It just felt not right. It felt like it was making us confused. And that's what I feel like that term has brought about, confusion. So she is going to explain the dual heritage of Black Americans, although she says African Americans. Hey, what's up, Pinky? How are you doing? You said, keep your worthless ass out of the comment section. We are Americans, don't want to be called no damn dusty African. Oh, God. Okay, that's Pinky sentiments, not mine. Let's go.
So before I go into this, I just want to say I don't like going into this. Okay? But because I got a genuine question, I will. At first, when I got the question, I fluffed it off. Because most people who ask the question genuinely don't want to understand. They just want to have something in their brains, and that's what they want to go with. So I don't really waste my time. But I'm going to address this. I'm going to address it with the history in your face. Okay? I'm African American. When I say that, I'm speaking about the descendants of the enslaved here in the United States of America. As an African American, my people have a long history here that many people around the globe do not understand nor want to understand. This is for the people who do really want to understand. Because my people's history goes back to the founding of this country, we were here along with indigenous and whites. At the time of our arriving here in the United States of America, before it became the United States of America, when we arrived enslaved, and a little bit before that, indigenous Americans were also being enslaved. This also happened in the Caribbean. There were indigenous people there. Africans came. People lived together. This happens all over the globe. People live together. They work together. They even intermingle, marry, have children. Okay? Way back in the 1500s and 1600s. In the United States of America, many of the women, the African women and African American women, were essayed. Same thing happened in the Caribbean. What's rarely spoken about is how in the process of all this, there were indigenous and African interaction. What's not mostly talked about is the fact that there were also children being born from indigenous and African lineages. Not all African people who were brought here enslaved interacted like this with the indigenous. And it depends on what time they were brought here. Keep that in mind. The transatlantic slave trade happened for a very long time. So it depends on where you were taken enslaved as an African person and when you were taken, okay, as to how things would go with you when you got on American soil. These two things, like how you were brought and where you were taken, this would affect who you would interact with, okay? The United States is big. So just because someone is in the United States, an African person came enslaved to the United States, does not mean that they interacted in the same way as another in another state. So now let's get into it.
Well, I do believe that she thinks, Pinky, that there were millions of Africans that came over here, and I don't believe in that. I believe that there were, I think they said like 70,000 or so, or maybe a little bit more than that, were brought over here. But the bulk of us was already on this soil. So I don't agree with everything she says, but she did mention ethnogenesis, and she's going to get into the fact that some of us did get mixed up with Native Americans, some got mixed up with white Americans, some got mixed up with other Aboriginals or other Black Indians that were already here. The premise, though, is to say that we're not one thing. And this is what she's discussing, is that we're not one thing, that over time, people had relations, sexual relations with other groups of people. And that's the point to remember, that we are not one thing. As Africans and other Pan-Africans would like to say, you're just different African groups, all from all over Africa. You guys came and intermingle among yourselves with other Africans and you're still African, but that's not what generally happened. We ended up having a white great grandmother or a Cherokee great grandfather like myself, and other races intermingle with us, which makes us not one thing and made us have our own ethnogenesis here on this soil here in America. Because without those other races of people, we could not be who we are. We would not exist. They like to put it all on, if it wasn't for the African, you wouldn't be here. Well, if it wasn't for the mingling with other races of people, we also wouldn't be here, because we came from other races of people as well. And I claim everybody in my lineage, whoever they may be. I don't care how dramatic and traumatic the situation was. If it was traumatic, I still claim them irregardless.
So here's an article called Bonded by History. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but as you can read yourself, then it says, few Blacks in the U.S. realize their familiar ties to American Indians are evidence of an important historical process. Carter G. Woodson, read right there, noted the interactions between Europeans and Africans, and between Europeans and American Indians. Okay, but a third part of the triangle remained unexplored. Okay, one of the longest unwritten chapters of the history of the United States is that treating of the relations of the Negroes and the Indians. As you can see, Europeans interacted with the indigenous. Indigenous, of course, interacted with the indigenous. Therefore, you should already conclude that, of course, Africans interacted with the indigenous. Not all Europeans had children with the indigenous. Not all Africans had children with the indigenous, but there are some. This is where we get the term the Black Indian. As you can see right there, Europeans had few qualms about selling Indians they had captured in battle to slave traders. In fact, American Indians were not exempt from enslavement until well after the American Revolution. The besieged Indian nations needed allies, and runaway African slaves who soon came to see the Indians' villages as safe havens proved eager to help fight the colonists. American Indians allowed their villages to serve as stations on the network of safe houses that became known in the 1800s as the Underground Railroad. Indeed, many African Americans who sought freedom in Indian villages were treated as sisters and brothers in some groups, such as the Mohawks in New York, encouraged intermarriage with them. The children of these unions were treated as full members of the tribe and served as a bridge between two cultures. Black people born in those unions are of dual heritage. This is not all African Americans that were born in a dual heritage situation like that. Mohawks. They were talking about the Mohawks right there.
But there were some that were. And there are some that were raped by the masters or slave masters or whatever you want to call them, the colonizers of America. And then there were other peoples that were here too that ended up intermingling with the so-called Aboriginals that were also here, because there were Black people already on this soil when Columbus got here. And people want to discredit that notion and say that those people were Africans as well. But they were known as Black Indians, as far as I can tell. And so that is what I want to talk about today. How do you guys feel about the fact that Black Americans are indigenous to America? We do have indigenous blood, and we have rights to this land. We have a birthright also to this land, and we're trying now to have ownership over our identity, because for too long, the government has issued out categories to us, and now those categories have been usurped by other melanated people to the point where you don't know who is an actual Black American. Please stand up. Who is the actual Black American up in this bitch for real? So many people now are claiming that they are us, and they're mimicking us. They're pretending to be us. And so there's a lot of confusion about who are the real indigenous Americans of America, meaning We don't know no other home country like other Africans or other Caribbeans have their own homeland that they come from. We can't say our homeland is Ghana, our homeland is Nigeria, our homeland is Liberia, our homeland is South Africa or wherever. We don't have no such knowledge of that. We don't have no blood relatives that's over there in Africa, over there in the Caribbean. So I'm specifically talking to that group of indigenous Americans who only know of America. I'm not trying to bridge this sameness with other groups of melanated people because they have their own identity. Let's just be frank about it. They came with an identity and then they try to usurp ours. And that's what's been going on for a while. And that's why FBA and ADOS and Indigenous American or Aboriginal American or any other name that we call ourselves is necessary to distinguish who is who, because people are trying to erase our identity. And that is so disrespectful to try to attempt to erase our identity. Now, I don't know if you guys know of this comedian by Godfrey. Of course, some do. Godfrey, he's a Nigerian, and he also mentioned recently that a lot of people emulate or imitate behind Black Americans. Let's look at this video real quick for you guys to understand that everybody at one point or another has been cosplaying as a Black American. And that's why a lot of confusion is going on with our identity, because these people won't leave us alone and let us name ourselves and let us have our own ownership. This is why a lot of Africans despise us, because they have benefited off of cosplaying off of us.
Some Nigerians, they do sometimes, Africans in general, some of them do think they're better than African Americans, which is bullshit, right? Because it's not the truth, because Africans are treated like shit in Africa. Colonization. Yeah. England, France, that's why you speak in French, not because you're special. Yeah. Because they came and sat on your shit and said, you're going to speak what the fuck we speak. Right. The Dutch, all of them, Italian, all of those European countries came and colonized you, treated you like shit. I mean, you go to South Africa, white people are calling themselves Africans and they don't even look it. That's some gangster shit, don't you think? I'm from South Africa. No, you're not. You're Dutch. You just didn't know when the fuck to leave. You see what I'm saying? It's fucked up. So that should tell you, and what African Americans have gone through, the fucking hell that they've gone through and still go through, how are you coming from that mentality and saying you thinking you better than them? Because you have an accent? Because for some reason, the white society in America tends to, African has an accent, it's a little different. It's like when you're British, like Idris said, when you have a British accent and you're Black, hello, I don't know. That's what I'm doing. Ooh, that's why they get to play us. Listen, British Black dudes are playing.
And then he said he's a Nigerian talking about, and then they get to play us. This is what we're talking about. He is not an us. He is Nigerian American. Yes, he was born here, but his parents freshly came from Nigeria. He is Nigerian. He does not get to assign himself our identity, but he has done so. And now he's claiming that they're acting like us. And we're talking about him. We're talking about his kind that's been cosplaying as us, taking over our identity. It's really, really weird. And he's saying, and he should have checked him and said, what do you mean us? Aren't you Nigerian?
Drug dealers. I thought Idris Elba was from Baltimore. I thought he was. You know, he was like, yo, you motherfuckers don't understand. And then I'm watching BBC, you know, when I did The Wire, I studied the ghetto in Baltimore. You sound like Lord Baltimore, motherfucker. What the fuck was that? And then this Driss guy, there's another Driss. Yeah. Snowfall. Yeah. I'm thinking this motherfucker like, yo, cuz. And he's like, you know, I took a, you know. The fuck is this, you know? Another, because I don't know what it is. Something about this is just my theory. Something about that Black American accent. Hey man, fuck man. But hello. Oh. And we see, we'll let Idris play that, but then when he gets back to his normal self, we get to hear James Bond. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. But we don't want to hear that. There's something about that. I don't know. I think it's just a little weird. It's like African Americans go through hell, but everybody copies African Americans. Right. Everybody does. I've been to a lot of countries. You've been to a lot of countries. I've been to a lot of countries. You haven't been to a lot of countries? You're so Southern. He's like, I've been to a lot of states. I go fishing over there. It's so bad. And out here, my RV. Like my grandma said, man, if you ain't got nothing to do, stay where you at. But listen, I'm saying when I've been to China, I actually performed. I was the first American to perform in Russia in 2018 in Moscow. And black shit is everywhere. Hip hop. There's Russian hip hop. I was in Lithuania. Went to a Lithuanian hip hop club. I was the only black dude there, and they were all grabbing their dicks and I'm like this. Hi guys, hello. Hi, that's our culture. Yeah. China, everywhere is hip hop. When I was in Japan,
that's our culture. Again, we have this, and this has gotten really, really bad. It's on steroids with people from other groups that are cosplaying us and claiming to be us. This is a prime example of what I'm talking about. He is Exhibit A.
And when I was in Korea, black people are copied. All that K-pop is just nothing but fucking New Edition. It's all black shit everywhere. African-American, I think the African-American culture is the strongest culture on the planet, period. Because even Africans are going, yo, nigga, man, fuck all that shit, nigga. Really? You sound stupid, man. This nigga got a lot of nerve, man. I was just saying, no, man, nigga. Shut up. Get the fuck out of here. Michael Blackson does it, but he's fucking around. Right. But there's people doing it. I see they got these reality shows, these African reality shows, and she's like, shit, that bitch, I know that bitch not talking to me like that. Really? The fuck is what? They got shit like that now. Nigeria got Nollywood and all. Hell, it's the third largest movie, but they're acting like they're taking from African American shit. Right. You know, a lot of them are taking it. Some people may not agree, but it's facts. And it's like, why are you shitting on African? Every African is not shitting on African American. That's bullshit. Right. But it's like, it doesn't make sense. Right. Because African Americans are, Africans are creative too, of course. Right. But African American, that culture is the coolest shit on the planet. Keep it 100. Hip hop, you know, just everything. Damn, jazz, blues, everything. You create, African Americans created all of American music. It's all black. Right. Like even country music, even though they complain it, like John Schneider from the Dukes of Hazzard. What are you, fucking still Joe Bo Duke, motherfucker? What's wrong with you? He goes, what is it? Beyonce, boy, it's just like a dog pissing on.
He definitely likes us a whole lot, doesn't he? I mean, I would say that he does give a little reverence and respect to our culture and everything, I would say, but I wish he would just steer clear of saying that this is us, because he's not us. And that's what we're fighting for, ownership of our own ethnicity, not being shared by other melanated people that just happen to be born here and they claim us. Just like they try to pull Kamala Harris bullshit on us. Kamala Harris is an African American. Fuck out of here. Trying to claim that Barack Obama is an African American. Fuck up out of here. All these people they have slid in, claiming that they're also African American, bastardizing our identity, bastardizing our ethnicity. This is why we're fighting back, because of that.
Everything. Shut up. It's black. Yeah. Country music is ours. It's black. I'm claiming it. And you're gonna say, oh, look, you just coming to tea, Shut up. Still white people take from old black men and black women and make it, and then say, you stay out of there. Look at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. How the fuck you gonna have a Hall of Fame and we gotta wait to get inducted from the music the black people created? And you got a whole white fucking...
Again, he's saying we, and he's not us. Let me see what you guys are saying in the chat room. It's just getting really annoying for him to continue to say that over and over and over again. And he is a straight Nigerian. He was born in America, sure, but his heritage lies in Nigeria. His parents just freshly came from Nigeria. He's the first generation born in America. How can he become me? How can he be me? And why would people be upset that I'm pointing it out and saying that that's not good? Shouldn't we point these things out because it's disrespecting our lineage as Indigenous Americans? This is why I call myself Indigenous American, for those that are confused. Pinky says, this woman in the blue dress doesn't know the history of America. People all over talking before they do any studying. Yes, we have differences of opinion. I have my own thoughts and views as well, but she did at least say that other people intermingled with so-called Africans, although they weren't called Africans back then. That term was brought forth by somebody from the Caribbeans sometime in the 1700s because it was not used prior. We were called Negroes, remember? And then somehow that word slipped in through someone that came from the Caribbeans that was colonized by Britain, because someone in Britain named the name African, named the name Africa, named the tribes and all the borders and all the lands. Nigeria was named by a white British woman, I believe. I don't remember the name. All those different colonization situations that had happened back when did not have any bearing on us until sometime in the 1700s, someone brought forth that word African. Pinky also says historians that study our history are not saying what she's saying. The historians are now saying the transatlantic slave trade is a hoax. I'm not sure if I can believe that it was totally a hoax, but I think that it was minimal at best. I think that there wasn't hundreds or millions of so-called Africans after the fact of Negroes coming over here. They want us all to believe we don't belong in America. That's what they have told that story to mean. And I don't believe that to be true. Pinky says the historians bear saying they don't know the numbers. 70,000 to 300,000 Africans came here. African Goddess says, I saw a documentary saying that indentured Irish women were bred with African male slaves during the early days of slavery. Okay, well, that would be something I never heard of, but that is interesting that you would say that. Derek says, you don't know the term African American came about. Jesse Jackson did not come up with the term. He came up with the term to the Congress to try to make it legal for us and impose that word on us in 1988, Derek. He popularized it to the point where he imposed it on us against our will, Derek. In 1988, I was there. Malcolm X used Afro-American in the 60s. Afro, yes, Afro. And it was used in the 1890s. That word was slipped in, like I just described, sometime in the 1700s, late 1700s, I believe, by that guy, Prince Hall. That's the first time I recall having someone use the term African on some type of declaration talking about the slaves. Prince Hall brought that word, as far as I know, to America, because he is not originally from America. He came from Barbados or some other Caribbean place. And he brought forth that word because it was colonized onto them by Britain. And they brought that word to America. That's why we weren't called African to begin with, because that's not what we were known as. We were called Negro before. We were called other things before. Pinky says, I claim all my ancestors. I exist because of them. Exactly. Whatever they are. Let's face it. Every race of people has done Black Americans dirty. Not any of them were benevolent to us, loving to us. They all did us dirty. So to say I'm not going to claim anyone that did us dirty would mean I wouldn't be claiming nobody. I wouldn't be claiming nothing. So that doesn't make sense. So I claim everybody that helped make me. African Goddess says the numbers of Africans who arrived in the United States seems to vary greatly depending on which scholars you listen to. Exactly. Easy asks, how are you doing? Thank you for coming through. Pinky says, that's right, but no one has said over 300,000 arrived in the United States of America. Derek says, I'm not claiming anything American to identify as. Okay, that's your prerogative. The Black Africans who was here before the red man didn't call this land America. Sister, tell me what spirituality and God y'all worship in India. Obviously, I didn't come from India, but obviously I don't worship Africans either, Derek, and apparently you do. You're not African if you are a Black American. You're a mixed-raced person who has an ethnogenesis that had happened, and you are your own ethnicity at this point. Stop worshiping Africans. They are not going to do nothing good for you. So you need to get off their balls, okay? And their clicks. It's not going to help. Pinky says, thank you, Jesse Jackson, for adding to this confusion. Exactly. Pinky also says, we claim everything American to Derek Thomas. Exactly. I'm not going to carve out something to appease Africans. What have they done for us? For me to be carving out and disowning ancestors of America. They want us to disown our own ancestors of America to appease these Pan-Africans and prop up Africans like we're to worship them. I don't think so. We're not doing that. Never. Easy access for Black Watch video title, The Two Types of Black Americans and Why It Matters. I saw that. He took forever talking. It was very boring to me, Easy X, but thank you for that. Pinky says, of course, most of us know Jeffrey with his flip-flopping ass. I don't like him. Exactly. He kisses our ass, though. At least he respects what we have accomplished, but I wish he would just say that this is their culture, this is their history. I was just happened to be born here, and I kind of like mention them as being mine, but they're not. I'm Nigerian, and I claim Nigeria. He doesn't even want to claim his own history in Nigeria, which is shameful. That's what Godfrey does. He tries to abandon his own heritage of Nigeria to talk about ours. And that's weird. Godfrey talking different. He knows he might lose his birthright citizenship. African Goddess says, Godfrey has identity issues, did not know who he was until he said something offensive about Nigeria last year and got himself on TV here last year. Derek says, my homeland is all of Africa. Are you there, Derek? Are you going to be honest and tell me, are you in Africa right now? Are you just talking this talk in this chat room? You said, I study and read FBA history and culture like I study continental African history and culture. There are very few books on Black African history I haven't read. Do you now, Derek Thomas, live in Africa? Because a lot of y'all that want to glorify and worship Africa never visited Africa and most definitely will never live in Africa, but you talk about this allegiance of love that you have for Africa. And it's weird because you ain't never left and you're never leaving. So are you there in Africa right now, Derek? Easy X says this delineation is a serious matter. We must separate from other blacks. We have to for our own survival, our own ethnicity. We deserve to have our own ethnicity, just like everybody else. What is wrong with us having our own ethnicity? I want to know. African Goddess says, why is he mocking Iris, who is a proud African? Oh, because he's a comedian, I guess. Miss D says, facts, because he was born here. He thinks he is us. 1 and 2 generation African and Caribbean think they are Black American because they are born in the United States but have foreign parents. Exactly. And they don't even consider the fact that they're like bum rushing onto our ethnicity and claiming our ethnicity and hijacking it. They don't even consider it. You always come here with a lot of information. We need to hear you speak. Do you have a channel? Do you join panels, Derek, to Derek Thomas? Pinky says, born here confused as F. Daryl says, separation is the plan to Easy X. Exactly. African Goddess says, second generation makes you Nigerian American or Nigerian British. You can claim the nationality of the country you were born in, but not the lineage. But they don't seem to get that memo, African Goddess. They claim our lineage too. They go around talking about, Martin Luther King is their ancestor. They run around claiming that they are us. And I'll be looking like, what the hell is going on with this picture? Pinky says Africans were okay and accepted until they started talking ish on us. Most tried to ish on us. Godfrey, and you know it. Otherland, how are you doing? Thank you for coming through. I'm also confused, and that's what they want. Great for separating us. Divine and question mark. Easy X says, all y'all Black people in this. If you are a real one, y'all better separate from these other Blacks, the good one and the bad ones. If these foreign Blacks don't like it, F them, Easy X says. Daryl Morris says, right, Obama and Harris. And that just shows you how messed up our so-called name is. That African-American term has been utilized very disrespectfully. People are even calling Elon Musk African-American. So if these people can use those names, Obama, Harris, Elon Musk, and others, Jeffrey, Godfrey, whatever his name is, can claim to be African-American, that means I ain't claiming none of that. I'm not claiming it because it's not my same group of people. Miss D says, Easy X, there is no other Black. Miss D, you know what I mean, dear. To Miss D. Godfrey, nothing Americans is yours. You are African, not American. Easy X says, I'm checking all identification of all melanated people. Derek says, Pinky Wells, I don't have a channel. To be honest, I don't know how to call in. I spent 25 years in prison, so I'm a computer ignorant. Okay. Well, welcome here, Derek Thomas, for coming through. I'm glad you're here I guess you've been here more than once. Thank you for coming back if you are here a second or third time. Afrodamas did a show today saying Dr. Umar was cosplaying Africans. Yeah, he is. And I'm going to get to this Umar Johnson in a little bit after I go over Tariq Nasheed's video, because he now has citizenship in Ghana and he is prancing about, acting as if he's a prince. He is prancing about, acting like he's our leader. And he got a lot of Africans fooled into believing that he is somebody to us. And he's not. We got to cancel Umar Johnson, y'all, this year. We got to put the heat and fire on that ass, because he is running around and giving this impression like he is the one to tell us and make us do whatever he says. Ain't nobody following that fool. We don't give a damn about no Umar Johnson. Pinky says to Derek, so you spend a lot of time in the library. Of the Land says, oh, he's Nigerian American. That's nice that he has a good things to say about our culture, but yes, it's our culture. Exactly. I don't mind that he says nice thing about our culture. I just mind that he is claiming it too, because it's dangerous for all of these other melanated folks to be claiming our identity like that. It's like they're trying to erase us and they don't even realize they're helping to do it. Nigerian made by Lord Lugar's side chick. It meant either Niger area or river, Niger area. Oh, I guess you meant the nigga. Oh, okay, that word. You said, Pinky says Godfrey isn't always saying nice things about us. Oh, okay. Sometimes he's gender warring with American women. I don't like him. Daryl says, no way you can bring that many of no one in the conditions that they were subjected to. I don't think that millions came over here. That's just a lie they told us. The Land says, yes, the transatlantic slave trade was a hoax taught around the late 1900s. My parents and grandparents have never heard of it. I never heard of it either. I have no record of me being yet a slave or not me a slave, but my ancestors. I don't know how to check though. You guys got to show me how to do that. You said Afro Dumbass and Umar are one and the same. Yeah, they're all narcissists, Pinky. Last put two different continents together to make a name. Yeah, that was the dangerous thing that they did, and that's why all this confusion about who we really are. That stupid name African American needs to be torched. The Land says, why does Godfrey argue with American women? To Pinky, all the organizations was called African this and African that in the 1700s, 1800s. Yeah, as soon as it came over here by somebody from the Caribbean, I believe Prince Hall, suddenly that term was used for a lot of different things back in the 1700s, 1800s, but it was brought over here by them on purpose because that term was not used prior. It wasn't used in the 1600, the 1500, the 1400, or whatever else. You said, no, I think Aphrodite wants to be Tariq. Oh, yeah. Umar's just looking for his next paycheck. Oh, he definitely is doing that. And more excuses to be able to get out of showcasing a school that's actually open. The more he delves into Pan-African talk and traveling and speeches, gives him more excuses as to why he cannot be accountable for the school he hasn't opened. That's what he's doing. You think that Godfrey is an evil, okay? And we're the only ones on this earth named after two continents. We are not confused. People are trying to confuse us, Pinky says. Sure, Derek, go live in Maritaria now. Derek, you a sucker. Oh, yeah, Derek, did you answer my question? Are you in Africa? Other Land says many Masonic lodges might have carried African names in the 1700s and 1800s, which was influenced by Europeans. Exactly. That Prince Hall with his first Masonic lodge called what was it called? Prince Hall. I guess just Prince Hall. It is a Masonic lounge. He couldn't get in with the white folks and he was told no, and he made his own. And suddenly he came up with that term African in one of his papers he wrote about helping out the slaves. Then that term came up. Derek says, we do know who we are. So how would we know who's anyone else? People are emulating us, Daryl. People are trying to confuse us on who they are to us. African Goddess says, I do believe that Black Americans have some African ancestry, but the culture is very, very different. I'm not going to ever say that there's absolutely no African in me because I believe that maybe on my mother's side there is. But on my father's side, I believe that there is Indian, Cherokee, like my father told me. And we don't look on my father's side like Africans. We don't. We just don't. Pinky says, we don't need African attached to us. No, we don't. Of the Land says, others told us we don't know who we are. My parents and grandparents said we were American Indians belonging to Southern tribes. My pic displays one of the oldest Indian statues, Of the Land says. Exactly. But they don't want us claiming this land because they want to have ownership over us to Africa. That's what it all boils down to. Yes, Derek Thomas has been here several times, Pinky says. Okay, I haven't noticed, but thank you for coming back, Daryl Thomas and Daryl Morris. Thank you for being here today. That's why there are so many different blacks, so we never know who we are. Social media makes all things possible. I think Umar is a comedian also. He's a clown. Easy X says Umar can't even cosplay an African correctly. No, he can't. Derek says, no, I'm not. Most of my young life was spent in prison, 25 years. If I had the money, I would be in Africa. All Africans hate FBA. Sister, your studies are very limited. My spiritual name is Tara Netananu. If I'm pronouncing it right. You said they hate FBAs. I already know they hate us. Most of them, not all. I know that they're jealous of us, Derek. I've been studying and observing. I go to African spaces and have actual conversations with them. And I have seen them say certain things on platforms to let me know that if you do not worship them or give them homage over you, they have a problem with that. Not all, but a lot of them I have noticed. How you doing, Amelie? Yeah, Israel. Thank you for coming through. Thank you. I'm sorry if I butchered your name. I'm sorry. Pinky says our government is separating us from the other blacks. That's another reason why we need Trump. He will do it. Of the Land says your spiritual name sounds Egyptian. To Derek, if you had the money, what African country would you move to? Derek says, I had one of the biggest libraries in the prison. I went home with over 2,000 books on a lot of subjects concerning Black African issues. Okay. Of the Land says, hello to everybody. Please like the live. Please comment, subscribe, and share. Thanks. Pinky says, please do your research before you go. A lot of Americans going and meeting their end. You can get a lot of info from a woman that has family there, Derek said to Derek. Kiki Loves Nigeria is a good channel. Also, Pinky says, yeah, she's got a lot of information on past deaths that have happened in the Gambia and other stories that she's done in relation to people that's been scammed or something happened to them or something. Very informative YouTuber. Kevin Payne says we are all of African descendants from a bloodline origin, all hues of people. And we also have bloodlines to Europeans and also Indians. So what's your point, Kevin? That does not mean that I'm beholden and owned by Africans, which you are seemingly sounding as if you think we should be. But we need to identify ourselves unless we just identify as the culture of the world. Yes, we do need to identify ourselves, and we're not going to identify by all the culture of the world because that doesn't make sense to do. Pinky says, you are African. I am not. Exactly. Sounds like Kevin might be a Pan-African. Are you a Pan-African, Kevin? Of the Land says Black and African terms are late terms given to the indigenous Americans in the late 1900s. They helped separate us from our American lineage. No, that dude, Prince Hall, slipped in that term. And once he came and others came, I believe, from the Caribbean that came to America, that brought that mess with them, started making up African terms and African names back in the 1700s, I believe. What's up, G? How are you? You said check out video on YouTube is African Home for Black Americans and Melanated American Women's Experience in the Gambia, West Africa. I just did that yesterday. G. Derek Thomas, I'm not African. If you had found fundraise me, if you can fundraise me the money, I will leave America ASAP. All y'all Black Indians have y'all read The First Americans Was Africans by David, Imhotep. There were also Aboriginal Indians here too, Derek. Easy X says maybe your studies help you survive in prison, but what is happening on the streets in our Black community is really scholarship. Put the books down and study the terrain in real life. Exactly. Nope, I'm Black Indigenous, Kevin says. Okay, so you're not Pan-African. Thank goodness for that. The Land says, yes, identity is important. It's important for people to rep their own group. When they try to join others, they can become victims, or they can become they can just infiltrate our group and try to make us do stuff that we don't want to do in our group. You said I'm far from Pan-African. Okay, thanks you for that. So let's now get to the main video I want to talk about, which is Tariq Nasheed. Again, I don't particularly call myself FBA. I am a sympathizer of FBA. I believe that FBA has a right to exist. I think that FBA has a right to self-declare themselves as FBA because, again, we have been named by so many different types of people throughout, the government, throughout history. We never claimed our own identity. And now that we are claiming our identity, a lot of people are really upset about what we're doing. And they don't have ownership of what our movement is about. And they're very, very hurt by it. Mainly Pan-Africans, mainly Western Africans, because they feel like they should be dictating what we're to do. They want to have rulership over us, and we're not going. So let's look at Tariq Nasheed, this latest video called Why Self-Definition is Revolutionary. And I think that this was telling a whole lot of what I believe in as well. Hit the like button, you guys.
Individuals like Gary, a saltine is a saltine. It doesn't matter what Abrahamic religion they so-called practice. A saltine is a saltine, especially one who harbors anti-Black American sentiments. I think we all know that. With that being said, I want to say to our family, it will behoove us to stop mentioning ops like this Owens, Freak from Freaking Misfit and that piss cast that they've run. Y'all know who I'm talking about. I'm not mentioning his name for a reason. Because family, we're gonna have to start punishing these individuals. And right now it's a Cold War. So how you punish them in the Cold War? If you're gonna engage them, disinform them. Right. All right? Right. Disinform them. You disinform them or you engage in propaganda against them. You don't run down our ethnic resumes to these individuals, particularly these saltines, because family, these saltines are basically sociopaths. Go get the book by Bobby E. Wright, Psychopathic Racial Personality. But I'll land with that, Brother Tariq. I highly revere you and keep doing what you're doing. But family, disinform these individuals and engage in propaganda against them. Thank you. Yeah. My brother who just called made a very good point. Certain people, we got to stop mentioning them because we got to understand, like this guy who's Myron's, and I don't really like mentioning Myron like that, to be honest. You know, we've mentioned him and got on his bumper a few times, but recently Myron kind of trolls at me almost every day, and I ignore him because I noticed that Myron fell off. Myron Gaines, always. A lot of these people, they fell off. They only get clout if we mention them. Y'all notice that, family? A lot of these people who do all of this goofball internet trolling, they really only get clout if we respond to them. That's why Gary is in here. You know, Gary's trying to get responses for his client because his client they have no clout nowhere else. Nobody's really rocking with that dude. And a lot of these trolls, nobody really rocks with them like that. So the only notoriety they get is from the attention that we give them. And certain people, man, you got to understand the weenie factor. Certain people are just weenies. So the only attention they're going to get is negative attention. And that's good enough. I want y'all to understand something. Certain people don't mind negative attention because that's better than no attention. Nobody would pay attention to them. They realize they're never going to get the respect of anybody to really look at them in a respectable manner. That's why people like the Myrons and others, they hate on people like me because I can come in the room and people give me attention based on the respect level they have for me. When people talk to me, it's with respect. When people tune into a Myron or some of these other people, it's like some shock value nonsense troll mess that they're watching. It's like watching a train wreck. You understand? Which makes them, the train wreck trolls, resentful towards the people like me who don't have to do that. I ain't got to do all that train wreck bullshit and troll in order to get people to listen. There's thousands of people listening right now. And I'm talking calm, like I got some damn sense. You know what I'm saying? And some of these cats really resent that. And they try to leech off of our energy in order for them to get some damn attention. And it's very interesting.
I think he's referencing Charleston White because he hasn't talked about Charleston White yet when Charleston White went after him and talking about FBA and saying that he's pimping the group and everything like that. He has yet to mention his name. I don't know where the timestamp starts where he's supposed to talk about self-definition as revolutionary, because I started at the beginning and he started off kind of weird. So let's hope it gets to the part where he's going to define it.
But yeah, this guy, Gary, is out here trying to get some shine and clout for his damn goofball client. Yeah? And he got shut down. Let's get, let me see, the Earth Angel in the building. Up in the Earth Angel. The Earth.
I'm sorry, Tariq. I didn't mean to speak.
Well, let me say this before I let it continue. It is revolutionary to self-declare your own identity. It is powerful. It's power. It's empowering you. It is giving you a sense of self, sense of pride, sense of just dignity about yourself. These things I feel, calling myself Indigenous American, I don't think with using the term African American or Black American has brought as much power to me as saying I'm an Indigenous American has brought to me. It has brought more clarity as to who I am. It has me not clumped with all groups of people confusing who I am. And I think that if all of us individually would declare our own identity, and really it would rock and shake this world as we know it. You know, we used to do that before. We used to shake the foundation of this world with our declarations, our plights, our movements, our civil rights and everything that we've been trying to do. When we come in one voice and we declare something as being righteous to do and the right way to be, it really shakes and shimmers a whole lot of different people. They are confused what to think, what to do because of us garnering our power, claiming our power. That's what makes naming yourself revolutionary. And I wanted him to discuss that further. I haven't heard the video before, I just saw the title and I figured he would get right into the conversation about what makes a revolutionary. But I'm just telling you guys my opinion. It is revolutionary to identify yourself, to have ownership of yourself, because there are people running around such as Umar Johnson, such as Dr. Eric Kana, such as all these other Pan-Africans who are trying to claim our name and ownership of our people here in America. And they're foreigners, or they're agents, or they're globalists. And they work for other people that's trying to get in our faces and in our spaces and try to dictate to us what we're going to be, what we're going to call ourselves, what we're going to do. Again, there's too many Pan-Africans and Africans claiming we're African, and they didn't even bother to ask us what we want to be called. That proves to you right then and there that they're very disrespectful in their approach on how they feel about us. Because if they asked us, we'd have said, no, sir, no, ma'am, I'm not an African, I am an American. Your belief system about how you think I am has nothing to do with how I think I am. Stop trying to leech off of me for ideology that is not of mine. Stop claiming me. I didn't ask for you to claim me. And that's not being rude. That's just being truthful and honest. There's a lot of people trying to claim us, and we didn't even ask for them to claim us. We want our own ownership of our own identity. We don't need nobody else helping us out with our identity. Africans are running around acting like they can help us with our identity, and they are getting in the way of our identity. They are interfering with our identity. They need to stand down. They need to stand back. They need to get the fuck out the way. Just like we never bothered them in their identity. Stop trying to bother us and our identity. Stop trying to run interference with our identity. Let us do what we need to do. This movement that we have on social media with us declaring our identity is happening big time right now on YouTube and on social media and on Twitter. But I hope that it would translate to other places of government or on the soil of America, where everybody, whoever they are, would know that we are declaring our own identity. More of this needs to be known, because a lot of people are just figuring that we are accepting this term of African American, which I do not. I rebuke that name. It has not benefited us one iota. It's held us back. It's allowed Africans to come over here and hijack different things attached to us because of that stupid name. And that's the way they want to keep it. That's why they're going stir crazy over us and identifying ourselves other than what the government told us to call ourselves, because we are mentally become empowered. We're making decisions on ourselves. We're looking at the world differently. And they're upset about that because they had us in a trance before. They had us dumbed down and confused before. And now the shields and the fog is coming off of our eyes. And people are very disturbed by that, mainly Pan-Africans. That's why you hear Umar Johnson talking the way he's talking about. If you are not on board with him being a Pan-African, if you don't want to be a Pan-African, then you're whack and all this type of thing. Well, we're going to leave you behind. Well, leave us behind. Please do. I dare you to. I dare all the Pan-Africans to leave Black Americans, indigenous to America, behind. Go ahead and do it. Go get your bank. Go build that school, Umar Johnson. Go do something tangible. I'm going to play a little bit more of this video. If it does not do what he is supposed to do in this video, which is define the revolutionariness of naming self, I'm going to move on to Umar Johnson, because that is the focus of where I was going anyways. He's been in Ghana for over 2 weeks now, and he's feeling himself. he's all in his feel good moment of thinking that he is all that in a bag of chips because people are propping him up, knowing full well he has not produced a school. But let's see what Tariq Nasheed is going to do in the next 5 minutes. I'm going to give this video, and then after that, we're going to go to Umar Johnson, or I'm going to go first to the chat room before I move on.
I'm sorry, Tariq. I didn't mean to speak.
Okay, girl, if you don't go in there and soak them greens, all right. The hell you doing up this late, pushing a button by mistake? What are you in there doing, young lady? All right. All right, y'all raise your hand if you're ready, because we do have a lot of people in the building. We do have a lot of people in the building. But boy, that Gary dude, boy, the truth came on out. I didn't like that. You know, like, all of these broke people, get the hell out of here. Man, please. Let me tell you something. The white supremacists, they got these weird fantasies. Let me tell y'all something about the Gary types. These people fantasize about us being broke in shanty towns and just downtrodden and all of that stuff. The fact that we can be thinkers, we can be organized, we can be hardworking, the fact that we can sit around and have decent, sensible conversations like this burns them up. This burns them up. So they have to create fantasy narratives within their own imagination. Yeah. About fantasy cash and people broke, and stop it. All right, let's get, okay, brother, I was going to get you, but boy, I just saw some pornography on your page, brother. I was going to add you. I'm going to chill on that, brother. I just clicked on your thing. You know, I saw some activities that I'm not really trying to be privy to. Sultar the Great. Let's get Sultar the Great in the building. Sultar the Great. Mr. Sultar, hop in.
Hey, what's up, Trick? I heard when that Gary came in, I wanted you to bring up the Devil's Punch Bowl in Natchez, Mississippi with that concentration camp. That's all I got to say.
Oh, yeah. Mass extermination, yeah, they killed a bunch of foundational Black Americans down in Natchez, Mississippi on the spot. It was Union soldiers who did that down in Mississippi at the Devil's Punch Bowl. Yeah, they killed some of us on the spot.
Why do fiber supplements always stop working? It's a shame that most people
kill some of us on the spot. So that happened a few times. There were massacres during the Civil War. They got a bunch of Black civilians and killed them on the spot. Yeah, several instances happened like that. Yeah, we can go there. We can talk about some of the Black people who were killed on the spot in Tulsa. Black people who were killed on the spot in places like Florida with these race riots or these race massacres. They just go in and just wipe out whole towns of Black people. Come on now. They killed them on the spot. Yeah. I could go down into the history, but yeah, I had to get him out the paint. What's this guy? Myron Magnus. Hop in, Myron Magnus. I think I'm saying your name right. Myron Magnus, you want to unmute your microphone, sir?
Yes, sir. How you doing, champ? What's up?
I'm good, brother. How are you?
I'm great. Can I make a suggestion? Can we call this dude Myron Gaines by his real name, please, which is Rufuddle? Because he's ruining my name out this joint for real. But, hey, I like to notate, one of the reasons I believe they despise you so much is by your controlled, calm demeanor.
Yeah.
And I would believe that our people need to take note of that, and we need to adopt that totally and embed it into our children and everything. Because when people can't pull on your emotional strings, they lack control over you. So it's very important that, because if I'm gonna say this, a land, if knowledge, wisdom, understanding brings about unity and peace, if you reverse the polarity, the ignorance, confusion, manipulation brings about division and war. And we don't need to have words or anything to make, we need to stop them from being able to manipulate us emotionally. And once we able to do that and consistently and embed that into ourselves, they're done for. They don't know where to go from there. I'm done. Peace.
Thank you so much. Yeah, man, this brother brought up a good point, man. When they can't trigger us emotionally, they feel like they lose control, because the white supremacists, they're so used to pushing our buttons. They know what gets us bent out of shape. They know how to say certain things that'll make us crash out. And when we don't do that, that makes them crash out. You see? That makes them lose control. And family, listen, the fact that we acknowledge our own lineage on our own terms, do you know how much that bothers suspected white supremacists like Gary and others? That's why it's a white man. Why he's so triggered? Think of
it bothers the Africans and the Pan-Africans too. Oops, hit the wrong button. It bothers the Pan-Africans.
why he's so triggered. Think about
Hold on. It bothers the Pan-Africans the most, I think, alongside of Africans that have declared their role in trying to be our dictator or trying to be our overseer, and it's not panning out. I think that many years before I came to know of Pan-Africanism, perhaps it was more influential at one point or time, with people really deluding themselves into believing that they were doing something when they were talking to various people from other parts of the world or whatever like that. But when you look at on the ground, what's going on in America, what's going on with immigration, what's going on in other countries, you realize that it's every man and woman for themselves. And it's not anything to do with Pan-Africanism. And that philosophy or that ideology of thought was brought to Americans first and foremost, and it has really harmed our mentality as far as how to think and see stuff. It's really made us slow and retarded like. So declaring your own identity and revolutionizing who you are is very potent. And that's why a lot of people are very upset with us right now. You hear people on social media going crazy. Everywhere you go, they're going crazy about little old us. Like there's nothing else to talk about but us.
I just got so triggered about the way we identify. Because now that shows that we're not down to be controlled by the dominant society. We're not going to sit here and just let you name us like slaves. We said, hey, you know what? We're going to call ourselves what we want to call ourselves, and we define what our lineage is. Look how these people have lost their minds. You know why? Because that's a major step of power. You want to know what power is? When you can start naming things.
That is power right there. And people like Ghana president, Ado Akufo, whatever his name, who did the year of return, was trying to get ownership of us, and he's been trying. And I'm pretty sure this new president in Ghana is also going to be trying to have ownership over us. But we're going to have to, again, keep to our own identity and declare our own ethnicity and our own self-declaration of who we are, and stop allowing other people to come through and define who you're going to be. Because if they can define you, if they can name you, they can control you and they can rule over you. And that's basically what they've been trying to do.
That's the first power. See, when the Europeans, when they came over here, you know what they did? They started naming stuff. They just picked out stuff and renamed it. Okay, that right there, we're going to call that Cleveland. That right there, we're going to call that a duck. That right there, we're going to call that a turkey. That looks like the people over there in the Middle East. So that's why they started calling it turkeys, because the red thing like a bear's on them. So yeah, that's a turkey. They just started naming animals, naming plants. They were going to take over. That was a power play. Yeah, with this island, I don't know what y'all call it. Y'all call it Haiti. Well, it's Hispaniola. We're going to call it Hispaniola.
And naming Africa, and naming Africans. Well, they weren't Africans. They always had their own identity. And so these British and these other colonizers came onto the country or the continent and start naming everything over there and named them African. They didn't call themselves Africans. They didn't name Africa. That's why it's really a trip for people to try to force feed us this notion that we're African when it wasn't even from them that they're called African. It was by the colonizers, in my opinion. What say y'all? What do y'all think about that?
New Spain. You see? So that's the thing about power. When you start naming things, you see, and when the white supremacists came here, they saw all these people. They said, hey, you know what? You guys are going to be Indians. Yep, you're Indians. And some of you guys over here by a creek, we're going to call you Creek Indians. They just start naming people. Yeah? So when we say, hey, you know, we're going to name ourselves. We're going to identify ourselves by this name because we feel like this name has a little more dignity. Now they lose their minds because we reject the term that they named us. See, they named us African American. That was a name that brought to us. And that was a name that actually disempowered us because that made us comparable to immigrants.
Bingo.
That name, African American, that was a name that was designed to make us comparable to immigrants.
Bingo. And considering all the things that's happening or about to happen or right around the corner, Trump's en route, the 20th of this month, which is 13 days away. Mass deportations are going to be happening. How many of these immigrants do you think are going to be trying to say that they're African American or Black American? Don't you know a lot of them are planning on lying about who they are and trying to hide behind our name? I bet you they're going to try to claim they're African or Black American. Once they're hemmed up, I bet you they try to say, I've been here the longest. I'm an African American too. I'm a Black American too. Get off of us. Stop claiming us. We are our own people. You guys are of your own lineage, your own history, your own landmass. That's the truth. But people trying to use Pan-Africanism to try to say we a block of black. You ain't nothing Black American. You just a block of black to be utilized by everybody for everything. You're the sacrifice. You're the sacrificial lamb for everybody else's agenda. Don't you say nothing. Don't you dare try to come out there talking about you somebody. Don't you dare say that you have an identity of your own. Don't you dare name yourself, classify your own damn self, giving yourself power and recognition. Don't you dare. That's why so much negativity has been coming out of the woodworks about what we're saying about ourselves. Keep doing what we've been doing. Do not subscribe to what people are trying to subscribe you as. And you are not African. We have never been African.
Musk is African American, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm not exaggerating. And he brags about that. Halfway joking, yeah. But the thing is, when people give you these names, they know what they mean. And certain names have certain disempowering energies to them. And the term African American was disempowering to us. We got to admit that. And a significant number of us, we have admitted that. Because anybody can come over here and be a damn African American. Kamala Harris is running around talking about she's African American.
And that was a big wake-up call because Obama slipped by because we weren't thinking about how we're thinking now. When Obama ran for president, we weren't thinking about having our own identity. We thought that we had our own identity. We thought that nobody that was foreign was using the term of Black American or African American. We just knew that they would have dignity about where they came from and would call themselves where they came from. But no, they have been utilizing the term African American and Black American as well. So who is who? They did that shit on purpose. This is why we have to declare our own identity, to reassert our power, reassert who we are, reaffirm our Americanness, reaffirm our position and birthright. Don't sit back and let them dictate to you who you are. You should not give up your power to foreigners.
We ain't the same. So yeah, we said, hey, we're going to define ourselves by our own lineage. Shout out to our good brother, Dr. Claude Anderson. He was one of the first people. That's where I got the game from. He started breaking it down. He was like, no, we're Native Black Americans. See, he would use the term Native Black Americans. See, I give credit where credit is due. I got the game from Dr. Claude Anderson, who's been saying this stuff for years. He would use the term Native, and I would use it. If you look at my Twitter for years, I would use the term, when I discussed us, I would use the term Native Black American. I would almost make it interchangeable with African American. I used it like everybody else. But when I would argue with Tethers, I would break down and say, hey, we're Native Black Americans. But sometimes that would confuse us, even though I understood what it meant. I knew what Dr. Anderson meant. Sometimes when people who are outside of the lineage would hear that term, they would get a little confused. They would say, Native Black American? You mean a black person mixed with an Indian? Say, no, not that. Somebody who's, Native, somebody who's foundational here. So I just used the term foundational Black American, and that just clicked. It clicked. And it made sense. You see? So us acknowledging our lineage, it ruffles feathers, because now it takes the power away from people to try to define us and have power over us. Because if people can define you, if another group can define you, that group has power over you. And
they have power over you, and they're ruling over you. They're dictating to you. That's what they're trying to position us into with this bullshit, dealing with Ghana, dealing with Pan-Africans. That's what they envision. They want us to be indebted to Africa's debt. They call that shit unity. That's debt slavery. But they're playing in our faces about what we're to do pertaining to Africa. I'm not signing up to be no debt slave to Africa. I didn't earn any of those loans in debt that those beady-eyed leaders took on themselves and have generational wealth for their family. And I'm not going to subject myself to becoming a debt slave for them in the name of Pan-Africanism and so-called unity. No, not doing it. Get the Africans to do it. You couldn't get the Kenyans to do it. Don't expect us to want to do it. Again, they keep talking about, we want to pull money together. Yeah, you guys want to pull money from us. You want us to be indebted to your debt. And you call that shit unity. You're not thinking about the betterment of us as a people. You're thinking about what you can get from us and leave us with absolutely nothing. Just like everybody else that's on the continent right now. We'll be in the same boat as them people. That's how they would like to see us, in the same position as them people over there in Africa that have no hope, no opportunities, no nothing. And now they risk their life, most of them, to get out of where they came from, whether they go to other places of Africa, they're migrating on the continent, or they're trying to risk their life to get out of Africa altogether. And now these same Pan-Africans are trying to convince us to trade places with Africans in Africa. You can't make this shit up. Since the year of return, they have a mission to get us to go and replace us here in America, like we the big bad dummies of the world. They are tripping. They have bumped their head real hard. And this is what I've been talking about on my platform, about how they've been trying to manipulate us. and get us to do the unthinkable, which is swap places with them. Many of the Africans that I have witnessed on different platforms have said, we want to swap places with Black Americans. We want them to come back in our stead. And when the outcomes are real bad, they don't care. They could care less because they like, join the club. That's all it is. Join the crowd. Join the club. This is what we go through. Why should you be any special? Because our ancestors sacrificed for us. They made a way for us in America through blood, sweat, and tears and wars and all the things they went through and all the things that they endured. That's why we earned our birthright. But people don't see it that way now. Most of these melanated people could care less about any of that. And they're jealous that we have a birthright. And they want us to disavow our birthright, dismiss our Americanness, and look at them as one and the same as an African, a block of black, to be ruled over by incompetent Africans in Africa, to dismantle us as a people and treat us like we're slaves of old. Let them tell it. If they had it their way, they would have it like that. Empowering yourself, naming yourself, declaring your own identity, respecting your history and your lineage and all the efforts of your ancestors on this soil is what they don't want us to be like. They can't stand you even acknowledging your own ancestors. There's an issue with you acknowledging your grandma and your great-grandma and your great-grandpa, regardless if they're white or Indian. You calling their names is offending to some of these Africans. It's offensive. They said, why don't you give that same homage to the African? Because we don't know that African. We don't have a name to the African. If we had a name and a picture to the African, then I would acknowledge the African, but I don't. So I can't acknowledge something that I don't know nothing about. That's the part that people don't get. But they want us to put the non-name known African over everybody and worship Africans. That's what it all boils down to. That's what Pan-Africans wish for us to do. That's not good to do, though. Worshiping Africans, worshiping Africa. Nah, we're not doing that.
When you define yourself, that's the first step of power, and we've taken a major power step. You look at how these people acting. These people are crashing the hell out. That's why they keep trying to redefine it. You notice that? That's a control thing. They want to redefine it. No. It's a group. What kind of group? It's a group with a whole bunch of money, and the money's in the woods, hidden in a grave. And what? They're not saying anything. And y'all communists, and y'all MAGA, and y'all controlled by the Russians, and y'all bots. And people losing their mind. They're saying anything. They're just throwing everything on the wall to see what sticks, which makes the movement even stronger. The fact that people are so damn desperate to try to discredit it, that makes it even more powerful. When something is constantly attacked, that means that thing has power, ladies and gentlemen. You don't attack something that's weak all the time. You don't attack weak, you attack power. You understand? You do not attack weak, you attack power.
Yep, I felt that message right there. I was feeling that all the way, y'all. I ain't gonna lie. A lot of things about Tariq Nasheed I don't really care for, but when he was talking about the power of naming your own name and it being a revolutionary act on our part, it's true. Don't you feel the same way by identifying yourself and not calling yourself that dreadful African-American term? Don't you feel emboldened with your own identity and understanding your history and your lineage and your heritage and all that kind of thing? Let me see, where was I? Okay, where was I? I'm kind of off. By the way, please hit the like. I have 17 people here. I guess I have a lot of haters that watch. A lot of haters, but please hit the like. Easy X, yes, my studying my history and culture helped me to keep my sanity and survive. It also made me identify who our enemies are and who our traitors are. I challenged my belief system, Derek says. Let's see, who did I? Oh, let me go back up. I was, okay. Oh yeah, I did look at that photo of the land. Thank you for that. For yeah, he was really dark and he was indigenous. And I know for a fact that my father's side does not look African. We do not look African. We just don't. Where was the Black Indians back in the slavery days, slipping in Black Indian organizations and fighting for freedom like the African Americans organizations was? A lot of them, Derek, were misclassified. They were called Negro, even if they were indigenous. They were called mulatto. They were called colored. Some were called freedmen. All these different categories of peoples, just based off of what they looked like, they were placed in those categories. Different types of people were put in those categories. All over the place, Derek. Other Land says we were called Indians because this country was called the Indies before it was called America. African Goddess says, yes, that woman's video was excellent. I watched it yesterday. Yeah, I played it yesterday. Other Land says Black Caribbeans called themselves West Indians because their region was seen as west of the Indies, Americans' first recorded name. Pinky says, I looked at your picture long ago, and that's exactly what one of my great uncles looked like. His mother was an Indian. Pinky says Tariq talks calm like that to trigger people, and it does. Yes, that was the correct image of the American Indian. Many European tobacco companies used these images on their products to prove that they were authentic to America. Other Land says, see? Yes, my study in our history and culture helped me to keep my sanity. Oh, I read that. Other Land says, some people think that when Black Americans say that they are Indians, they are saying they're the Asian Native Americans. No, we are the original image of the American Indians. Yes, we are the originals, but some did get mixed up with that other group as well. There are 4 or 5 different races that was on this land, including Asian that was here. So I'm sure mixing and mingling happened for the past 400 years, and there are just so many variables that it could be from our blood makeup. We are not one thing, and I accept that as an ethnogenesis. I accept all that I am. They will be back, Kevin says. Derek says, I identify as New African. This term comes out of the revolutionary movements of the 1960s and 70s that put the work in and pick up the gun. Okay. Hopefully that will not cost you back another trip to jail. Talking like that. Like I say, I don't recognize any type of movement that I did not formulate or was a part of. Things that happened in times past, I leave it in times past. Marcus Garvey doesn't matter to me. That movement in the 60s and 70s doesn't matter to me. Only thing that I respect is civil rights of Martin Luther King. I respect Malcolm X. I respect Frederick Douglass most of all because he was a slave and he endured everything and he surpassed so many different things that I have great deal of respect for Frederick Douglass. I would say he was the most influential to me, and then Martin Luther King. To me, I say. Pinky says, I never liked American history. All they taught us in school, we were slaves. White man built this America and about Jim Crow. Oh, yeah. history was a terrible thing to learn here in America. So that's why I really enjoy talking to you guys and also looking up different things and learning about different things through documentaries or other YouTubers that tell other things that they know of. And it's very interesting to learn different things from different people. And you can learn from anybody out here. Even white folks can tell the truth. Even other groups of people can tell the truth. The problem is people just want to keep us one thing, and they want to make us feel like we're nothing more than slaves. And that is just not working out for me no more. Easy X says everyone's talking about the Great Reset. That may be true, Easy X says, but it also the Great Awakening from Black Americans. It once was, it won't be overnight, but gradually we are awakening and momentum will grow. We don't really have a lot more time to tarry. A lot of us are really just making a whole lot of crash out moments, destroying our lives. There's so many different videos about bad behavior, immorality, people doing the most. And a lot of us won't have second chances to correct what is going on wrong, unfortunately. A lot of us are in a real bad mind of thinking. You said it's disgusting that Umar is still getting attention and starting a new project without being held responsible for his school scam exactly of the land. I cannot tell you how much disdain I have for Umar Johnson and Pan-Africans overall. I know that African Goddess says she's a Pan-African, but I just think that she's a decent person. I don't consider you, African Goddess, really a Pan-African, because when I mean Pan-African, I talk about despicable people that are fraudsters, that conceal their real true intention, and they're about themselves. They're about sabotaging and destroying any semblance of stuff of our own here in America. They want to sabotage everything and try to rewrite history, all for the sake of selling us out. And they garner money behind selling us out. That's what I call Pan-Africans, the biggest fraudsters and liars that there are right now, messing with us. You said the Ghanaian year of return was a government policy to raise funds, which it did. Umar being there is meant to be more promotion. Exactly. He was there for there too. Okay. Of the Land says, yes, eventually American history focus on the history of slavery and not the true history of indigenous Americans, slave trade, etc. wasn't taught before the late 1900s. African Goddess says, my only issue with the year return is that the government in Ghana has not put anything in place to support people moving there. And they don't care. They care about the dollars. That's the bottom line. They care about the money that they're going to get. They don't care what type of risk or Russian roulette or outcome that may befall us, so long as we try. And if we become broke behind it, they ate us up like Pac-Man. That's about it. Yes, I'm not hearing someone say that Ghana never meant for the year of return to be a repat situation, but a way to get Americans to invest there. I don't think that that is true. To African Goddess, they want investment too. They want it all. They want everything that they can get attached to us. But what do we have to show for once we help them out with what they want? We have nothing to show for. Just our sweat, blood, and tears is what they want. The same thing that they figure that America got from us is the same thing that they figure that they should be getting from us over there in Africa. That's the mindset of many of these Africans, unfortunately. Pinky says, Tariq trying to rename us with that stupid FBA. All of us haven't agreed to anything. I'm saying that even if you don't subscribe to FBA, name yourself. Again, just naming yourself is power. Don't let them name you, and don't fall for their okie doke mentality of thinking like they think we're supposed to be thinking on. You said there is an official video. It is about investment. Yep, I'm pretty sure it is. Africa is a foreign term. It is not indigenous to the landmass now known as Africa. Exactly. I know it didn't come from y'all. Tariq wants the power, but not the responsibility. He's telling people, I'm not the leader after he fills their minds with his bull BS. What I would say to that, Pinky, is at least some people have more pride than they had before Tariq Nasheed. Unfortunately, it took some of them to lose a lot of money. Maybe some didn't really spend a lot, but hopefully people will start waking up to the notion that we don't have to be grifted by Tariq Nasheed to have our own pride and name our own selves. That it was a good idea. Also, ADOS was a good idea. It's just that I don't really respect the leaders so much, but the message sometimes does touch home. It does touch. Of the Land says, but in the same breath, Ghana's officials were making the repats feel that they were returning home to stay. Yes. Since when, besides Trump, has any presidential behavior seemed so wild? Daryl says. Easy X says, so Africa and Africans don't have any power if they didn't name themselves or where they live. They don't even live as Africans. When they come to the West, they adopt everything Western. Yes, they do. Pinky says they can't fingerprint printing is done when they get here unless they sneak in. They can do those fake, they have Nigerians that do fake IDs now globally. Hopefully there won't be too many problems behind people trying to use our name. Other Land says, are you bothering Pinky today? Because a lot of them trying to sound just like us, and they're trying to get rid of their accents too. If you haven't noticed, a lot of these Caribbeans and Africans sometimes don't even sound like they have an accent. And this is how fast our awakening has progressed since Obama's election. Our awakening will continue to grow and manifest into what we want and how we want it to be. Nobody else. We ain't going back. Other Land says, I'm sure many other presidents have had controversies concerning their past. The difference now is that we are in the information era. The other presidents had more privacy. Yes, that's true. Easy X says, loves my attention. We are going to Ghana together and become citizens. You can come too. Okay. Of the Land and Pinky. Easy X. Okay. No thanks to Easy X. Of the Land says, I definitely won't be going to Ghana or any African country and leave Pinky alone. I know he knows not to even invite me because he knows damn well I'm going to say no to that. Everybody, welcome to the live, by the way. And please hit the like. Please share. Please subscribe. You said these people are hungry over there and I'm going into my cooking pots. Pinky. Sheena says, how you doing, Sheena? You said I was on a stream on TikTok. The Africans are really trying to separate our people. They had a topic asking who built America, Africans or FBA. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? They're trying to claim people that were sold to America, and they have no claim on those people that were sold to America. Those people that are claimed should be of the lineage of this soil that actually shared the blood of those people. We can only claim those so-called Africans, but they weren't Africans then. They were called Negroes. They weren't called sell the Africans. The Land says, I would feel overwhelmed going to many of those African countries. If I went, it would be to show their officials how to start soup kitchens and feed their people. The Land says, we need that here. The Land, there's a lot of people that are struggling right now here in America. We got to start thinking about our own people as well. Sheena says, I don't like that foreigners are trying to define who we are as people. I don't like it either, Sheena. That's why I'm doing this live. Leave us alone. We don't want you claiming to have ownership over us and trying to claim that you're going to dictate what we're going to do, period. Easy X says, Derek, you're operating in the past, just like most pennies. Move to Africa and live out your revolutionary fantasy. Exactly. Because we're not going, Derek. Pinky says, that's a good idea. I watched a couple of videos of an Asian woman that cooks food daily for the homeless out here. Other Land says, for Black, yes, the many different races of this land eventually mix, but this country decided to divide the groups according to skin color and denationalize the darker races. Exactly. Pinky says, go to Africa, go broke, go back to America. Exactly. Other Land says, yes, that's good. I feel sorry for the many starving people there. If frauds like Umar wants to help them, he should make NGOs to help feed them and not to get us to move there. Again, it is an agenda to replace us. It's an agenda to swap and trade places. It's been that way for a while. It's been that way since 2019. So now it's 19, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years. 6 years of that. Other Land says, yes, if they're lucky, they can get back here. If they're lucky. You're right about that. Because some are homeless and stranded. That's so messed up. You said no more NGOs, please. That's not what Africa needs, African Goddess says. I thought that was a good thing for if you have the right intention behind your NGO, I would think, but some of them don't, I guess. Are there NGOs in Africa that help feed the people there of the land? Asked African Goddess. She says, yes, there are NGOs too, many, but that's a whole other story. And African Goddess says, Africa is beautiful. The issue is an inequality, poor leadership. If you come on holiday, you will enjoy yourself. Yeah, if you got money. So what I want to do now, because I want to talk about Umar Johnson when I get back. I want to take my dog out real quick and let you guys hear a song real quick. While I'm gone, please hit the like, share, and subscribe. And we will talk about Umar Johnson when I get back, because he is doing the most in Ghana now. I feel like when he comes back from Ghana, he's going to be a big headache to us. And we need to shut that fool down. We need to shut him down.
Kick off your shoes and lay back and let me soothe you. I wanna take my time.
Oh, it's a whole nother song they were about to play on y'all. Oh, wow. I didn't know that. All right, I am back, and we are going to talk about Umar Johnson going to Ghana. Umar Johnson has been running around in Ghana for the last couple of weeks. I'm pretty sure that when he comes back, he is going to be on a tear of sorts, attacking us, of course, and we're going to have to be ready for that. Let me show you the first bullshit video that I have of him in his quest for now a citizen of Ghana. He is now a citizen of Ghana. Does that mean that man is going to finally move to Ghana? I bet you he won't. But he's going to come back bragging about having his citizenship, though, nonetheless. So let's start with this. Excuse me.
And I knew what it meant. It was my ancestors saying we hadn't seen you in a while because my last visit was the year of return, 2019. And then COVID hit. And I normally did a group trip and we came to Ghana almost every year from 2014 to 2019. So my ancestors was like, we ain't seen him in 5 years. So I had to get back over here. So when the opportunity arose for me to become a dual citizen of Ghana, something that I never thought would happen, I had to jump at it. So this is a miracle. I'm
currently in a community in Accra called Labad. This is my first time of coming. I mean, sleeping and waking up here because there's a bigger project ongoing today. The president of the newly elected president will be sworn in today. So I was invited by a friend of mine to come and cover another program, a radio program that another program that will be done today. So this is
a YouTuber by the name of Equal, if I'm pronouncing it right, Simpson. And he's talking about Umar. But let me fast forward it a little bit because I didn't know he was on there talking. I wanted to just see the part where Umar was talking. Hold on. This might not be the right. Okay, here it is.
citizenship. He's now a Ghanaian. Yes, a Ghanaian.
This is Dab Speaks, and I have here the legendary Dr. Umar coming all the way from the United States of America. Now, this is a man that needs no introduction of the great work that he's been doing. Dr. Umar, how do you feel, first of all, being on the continent? Because not everyone is able to.
What great work has Umar Johnson done exactly? He doesn't have a school open for boys. He runs around like a gigolo with different women. He is not married. He is not a father to his kids. Where exactly did he accomplish anything at? I'm confused. But because he uses Pan-Africanism, talks about Pan-Africanism and talks about Africa, that's all he has to do to pass. And it's despicable. He needs to go away and be canceled.
Make it here.
That's a great point. I always feel honored. I always feel overcome with joy. I always feel a great camaraderie with my Ghanaian brothers and sisters whenever I come to Ghana, this being my 5th visit. And of course, I've been to other places on the continent, but I do have ancestry here, and a few other places. So it's always extra special for me. I had a dream about 2 or 3 years ago in one of the slave dungeons here in Ghana, and I couldn't tell by the dream whether it was Cape Coast or Elmina, but it flashed in my dream, and I knew what it meant. It was my ancestors saying we hadn't seen you in a while because my last visit was the year of return, 2019, and then COVID hit, and I normally did a group trip, and we came to Ghana almost every year from 2014 to 2019. So my ancestors was like, we ain't seen him in 5 years, so I had to get back over here. So when the opportunity arose for me to become a dual citizen of Ghana, something that I never thought would happen, I had to jump at it. So this is a miracle. It's a dream come true. And one of the reasons I'm wearing the pendant of the Right Excellent Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey, father of modern Pan-Africanism, who was a tremendous influence on the works and life of Dr. Osajifo Kwame Nkrumah is Mr. Garvey never had a chance to come to Africa in the 1920s, 100 years ago. The colonial powers never allowed Garvey to come to Africa. So me becoming a citizen today is my way of paying homage to him. It's my way of paying homage to Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, who was educated in Pennsylvania, if not far from where I was educated in Pennsylvania as well. And, you know, also today is symbolic as well, because on this day, January the 6th of 1820, the American Colonization Society sent 89 free Africans to Sierra Leone. It was the first organized immigration effort from the United States. And that happened today, 205 years ago. So I don't think that is a coincidence. You know, repatriation is central to Pan-Africanism. And me being a Pan-Africanist, I think this is just another step in the right direction. I believe that the 21st century is the century of Pan-Africanism. It's time for all of us around the diaspora to join forces, to lock horns, and put being African first. We put our religion above being African for the longest time. We put our professional affiliations above being African for the longest time.
So again, this is the agenda. So-called putting African first. So-called claiming that you're African. So-called claiming that everything that you do should be about Africa. All your thoughts and hopes and dreams should be about Africa. Go to Africa, visit Africa, move to Africa, build in Africa, get land in Africa, build a house in Africa. Get a citizenship if you can in Africa, change your name for the sake of Africa, do all these things that they're trying to get Black Americans to do. And we're putting a line in the sand and saying we're not doing all of that. We're not doing any of that. That's not what we signed up for. That's not emanating from us. Nobody asked us. But yet you got this clown on this platform declaring what we need to be doing like he got authority. And the Africans who are foolish enough to believe that this clown is legit, it's laughable. He has no power. He doesn't have no respect by people that have a brain. The people that see through his bullshit and see his hustle as what it is, a hustle, that he's gotten away with for 15 freaking years. 15 freaking years. He needs to be canceled this year. He should not have no wiggle room at all to do nothing.
Put our tribal and ethnic affiliations above being African for the longest time. And now it's time to be African first and everything else second. So I think the government, I think the outgoing president, because this was an initiative of his, the Office of Diaspora and Affairs, without that, this would have never happened. So thank you, sir, for the wonderful work you did. And I'm sure that Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah is smiling down from heaven to see Dr. Umar earning his citizenship today.
I can see how ecstatic and over the moon you are. You know, in your opinion, what do you think the future hold in terms of diaspora, integration? Ghana had the year of return in 2019, and now we have beyond the return, and now there's a citizenship. What do you think the future hold in terms of the diaspora integration?
Well, it's interesting you asked that, because early in the 1800s, the 19th century, most of the grandfathers of Pan-Africanism saw Liberia as the promised land for Pan-Africanism. So when we look at the Honorable Marcus Garvey, when we look at Henry Highland Garnett, when we look at Alexander Crummell, most of them saw Liberia, Edward Wilmot Blyden, they saw Liberia as the promised land for Pan-Africanism. But since the independence of Ghana...
Will they take their Pan-Africanism to Liberia? All these clowns that's declaring themselves as being Pan-Africanists, take y'all asses to Liberia already. Take your asses to Ghana already. Take your asses somewhere already. Stop talking the bullshit to Black Americans, indigenous to America, who do not care at all about going to Africa. But their mission is to get us to feel like that's what we need to do, irregardless if it doesn't make sense.
March 6, 1957, with Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, there was a transitioning from Liberia to Ghana as the new home for Pan-Africanism. And to your question, this citizenship initiative, this year of return initiative, it's going to bring a lot of Africans in the diaspora back home. Not just the American Africans, but we can't forget the Central American Africans. There was slavery there. We can't forget the South American Africans, Suriname and Brazil. There was slavery there. We can't even forget our Canadian African brothers and sisters. There was slavery there, although it ended before the States. And of course, throughout the Caribbean, we can't forget them, because you have just as many Africans in the Caribbean collectively as you have in the United States. You know, so when I speak for the entire African diaspora. Let's not forget the ones in Australia, because they even had a slavery there. So when we talk about coming back home, we're coming back home from all around the world. As I always say, the entire planet is the African kingdom, but the continent is the royal palace, and Ghana is the royal throne.
And Ghana is the royal throne. You know, undoubtedly, Ghana is the gateway to Africa, and we like to say you are welcome. We like to say Akwaba, and that means welcome. This is where you can truly call home. You are not an African because you were born in Africa. You are an African because Africa was born in you. And this is how we draw down the curtains for this session.
Machine learning is advancing, but
they think that shit's supposed to rock with us. They think saying that shit somehow is supposed to make us feel like that's what we're gonna be. And Umar Johnson was talking a gang of shit on this other video while he was in Accra. I'm gonna play that in a little bit. Again, this Pan-African talk, this praising of the dead of Marcus Garvey and other people like that. They get on my last nerve. Let me see. Let me go back. But we had an ethnogenesis, though. That's what we got to remember. We had an ethnogenesis. We are not one thing. We are our own group of people. We are American first. I don't know what he's coming out with this African first, because that's not what I'm on. Of the Land says, I've always worked with groups to feed the hungry in America. I would probably go to Africa and look for the hungry children to feed them. It's a lot of them. You probably wouldn't have enough food to feed them, but I understand what you mean. I don't like seeing people hungry. Unfortunately, there's a lot of homeless people here in America that they're not being tended to as well. Not as well as they used to be, because it's not American first. It's been about these immigrants for the last 4 years. That's why Trump is very much needed to clean up what is going on wrong here in America. And I hope to goodness that he does. I'm really looking forward to Trump being in office, you guys. We have 13 days to go. Not that long. You said, I guess you are a Hebrew Israelite to Easy Acts, Derek says. If so, all those characters in the Bible are mythological people, so are the stories. I question the intelligence of any Black person who believes in them. Oh, shots fired. There are some things about the Bible that you can take to heart, like Proverbs, some things in Psalms. Some stories do link up with teaching us certain things, values. The Bible's not all the way bad. Unfortunately, a lot of men have messed up the Bible by glorifying themselves first. That's why you see a lot of these pastors are coming up off of the people, and you don't see the people coming up off of nothing. So in some ways, the Bible was a benefit to us long ago. When we had morality more and we were a little bit humble and fearful of being shamed, we walked a different way and had more righteousness to ourselves. So I would say the Bible wasn't all the way bad, but it can be used for bad for those that decide to do so. You just have to have a discerning spirit and know the difference. You said many of the children begging on the streets are trafficked and brought to cities to beg If you help, you're encouraging trafficking. Wow, African goddess says to of the land. Wow, encourages trafficking. Dang, that sounds like a trap you can't get out of, African goddess. Of the land says, so are those kids in Africa that are begging, not hungry? To African goddess, Pinky says Umar is African. He looks like a Ghanaian. I don't care what he is. I just want him gone. I want him to take his ass, but I know damn well he's just going to come back to America with his citizenship certificate and just talk hellish shit to us. And we're going to drag his ass. I'm going to keep dragging his ass. I don't like Umar. Other land says, yes, Umar might have African lineage, but he shouldn't try to change all of ours. Exactly. I cannot stand Umar. I can't stand none of them. African goddess says, of course, they are hungry. Their masters don't feed them much, and sometimes they damage their limbs so that they can make more money begging. Oh, no. African goddess, you know way too much. That's what I'm talking about. That's crazy. Wow, I never heard that before. They damage their limbs so that they can make money begging. Can y'all imagine? Wow, those kids are going through a lot. Other land says, so either way, the children begging in Africa are hungry. I give the food. Other land says, African goddess says to Pinky, Umar has multiple African names from different African tribes, which real African does that. He does it for money and recognition and clout. That's what he's doing it for, African goddess. Umar Johnson is one of the most ingenuous type of people that you will ever know or meet or see. He's just all for play and all for game. And he is a gigolo for Pan-Africans. And he's also a real gigolo for all these women that he is gallivanting around with. Because if he was a real man that wanted to have a family and showcase real leadership, he would settle down and get married and have a real family. That's what he would do as a true leader. We don't need no gigolo, busted and disgusted dude rocking dashikis and wearing African attire, proclaiming that he is a damn Moses and a leader to us, claiming we African. I don't like him at all. I hope somebody beats the hell out of his ass. Pinky says Umar has made 2 baby mamas in America. He's helped America with those stats for absentee black fathers. Yes, he has. And then he runs around wagging his fingers talking about what people need to be doing when he ain't did the right thing himself. And he keeps doing the wrong thing himself. Ain't no telling how many other kids he got hidden. I bet you he got another one hidden. African goddess says you would be encouraging modern day slavery. Wow, that's deep, African goddess. Of the land says to Umar, shut up. Marcus Garvey didn't want no Africa. He could have went if he wanted to. Exactly. He will have to tell you, to African goddess, Pinky says. Sheena says Africa is their God and Pan-Africanism is their religion. I will pass. Exactly. That's all it is. It's not our reality. And they're trying to force it on us as our reality. Again, if we would allow people to name us, they could rule over us. And that's what they're calling themselves trying to do, talking about you're African. You're going to hear more of these chants of you're African when they get back, when he comes back to America. If kids are hungry, I'll feed them. How are they getting into the hands of the traffickers of the land? Asks African goddess. African goddess says, Umar speaks well if you don't know his history. Yeah, he speaks well if you don't understand that. That's what they do, though, African goddess. Dr. Eric Conant is the most prolific speaker in this regard, talking about Africa's terrible colonization, the debt that they're all in, woe is Africa. She's well spoken in that regard, but look at her track record as being a fraudulent past ambassador. Okay? Umar Johnson is a fraudster. He's an imposter. He knows how to speak, though. They all know how to speak well. But they're still frauds. And people revere these people. That's how you know it's a red flag if they're Pan-Africans. You got to know it's a red flag. I am American first. He has lost his mind, Sheena says. I know that's right. I'm only American first. I don't know nothing about Africa and having allegiance to Africa. I'm sorry about that. I wasn't raised to. I'm not changing myself for other people. I'm sorry. Traffickers steal or buy those children from poor rural areas. Wow. So maybe Umar didn't get the memo. Ghana is claiming that they wanted Americans to invest and not repat there. So what is he talking about now? We about to see. I'm about to show that video. Let me just get the rest of these comments. He I can't even say the word Africa more than African. Yes, ideologizes. Of the Land says, so if people want to help the starving kids there, they have to focus on the reasons why the parents are selling their children to traffickers, but in the meantime, feed the kids. How many interviews did he do? I'm not sure how many he's done. He's been there for 2 weeks, over 2 weeks. Yes, focus on the parents. Some don't know they are selling their kids. When the agents go for them, others are just kidnapped. Wow. Derek says, sister, your self-hatred is deep. Okay. I see you Black Indians never talk about the native Red Indians, enslaved freemen and women. Why not? Why y'all not on the reservation fighting for y'all citizenship there? Dummy, Derek, I've said I'm multi-raced. I'm American first. Did you catch that part? Have you listened to the whole entire video? I'm American first. I'm American first. I said I don't exalt any part of me. I said I don't worship the white side. I don't worship the Indian side. I don't worship the African side. I'm American only. That's what I recognize myself as being. So there ain't no self-hate here. You're just mad that I'm not worshiping Africans like you do. You are bitched out, tapped out like a bitch. As a man, you've been locked up for 25 years and now you think that you got one on me? You ain't got shit on me. Okay, he said the colonial powers wouldn't allow Garvey to go to Africa. He's a goddamn liar. The colonial powers allow him to go to Europe and not Africa. Exactly. You heard those shots? Yeah, you heard my shots back. African goddess of the land, you increase the traffickers' profits when you feed the kids as they don't have to. Then they can send them back out to beg. Of the Land says clowns like Umar shouldn't be given a platform after he tricked Americans into donating to his phony school. Until he completes that so-called project of a school, none of us should be donating to him or encouraging, even listening to him. We should ostracize him. We should, excommunicate him. We should not be. I'm only showing what is happening with him going to Ghana. I'm only showing you how he's being propped up in Ghana and how he's going to be coming back to America. We're going to watch as he calls himself trying to be more authoritarian and talking hella greasy to us once he gets back. You said, Derek, stop it, bro. I wouldn't even want to F a Hebrew Israelite woman, much less be one of these people. Exactly. My American mindset would be to feed the children of the land says, while attacking the traffickers and the reasons behind it. Derek, I'll read whatever the hell I want to read. Don't dictate nothing to my chat room. You're about to get timed out in a minute. Don't get on my nerves. Easy asks, Derek, is Pan-Africanism a religion or a cult? He's starting to get on my last nerves. I watched a doc made by some Tanzanians. They went to Kenya to look for children that were kidnapped and put on the streets to beg, all the while being watched by the traffickers. Wow. At the end of the investigation, they reported to the Kenyan police and took these children back to Tanzania. Okay, what's up, Lynn? Long time no see. Thank you for coming back. I'm glad to see you. You said it's been a long time. I've been very busy. Oh, I got you. I know the holidays had a lot of people on vacation or working long hours or just taking me time. I get it. Other Land says we were called Indians because America was originally called the Indies. We were something other than what they're trying to describe us as being. And like I said, I don't mind that there might be African ancestry, although there are other ancestries also in me. So I do not prop up Africans. So what? That's not self-hate. That's not worship in Africa. Sorry. Yes, they do the same thing in India. The poverty is great in India and Africa and causes the parents to fall prey to the traffickers. Okay, so let me read this last one. You said, I hope Umar stays over there. No, he's not staying over there. He has too many tricks, too many hoes that he has back in Philadelphia or wherever the hell he stays. You know, he's been getting his groove on for a long time, probably with several different women. So he's going to want to turn up again in America. It's not about the plight of Pan-Africanism. It's about him. It's about his narcissistic ass. You said Umar is a paid con artist who needs to pay back the money he scammed people out of for the school he never opened. Exactly, Lynn. No, you don't know nothing history. You are working off emotions to start. Yeah, whatever. Just hearing a black person say, I identify only as American. Well, whatever. You don't have to be here, Derek. Let me time your bitch ass out. You starting to get on my nerves. How about that? You were in my chat room talking bullshit. Bye. Think about it. Easy access, Derek. You are a prison scholar, so that gives you a credence over anybody? No, it doesn't, bro. How long you been out? In 2025, you caught in some time warp. Just listen and learn. We ain't those Negroes. Exactly. He think he's some type of doctor once he gets out of prison. Ain't that some shit? Got a prisoner talking crazy to me. The fuck is going on with this picture? Lord have mercy. But I got rid of that bullshit. So let's get to the good part. Let's listen to him give a speech in Ghana. This Umar Johnson.
I hear about the petty differences that pop up between American Africans who brought some of that slave master with you to Ghana. And so we need the elders to help us navigate these internal conflicts because we can't afford to fall apart over petty differences. We can't afford to click up. No more light skin, dark skin. No more Muslim versus Christian. No more American African versus African. One people, one family, one race, one nation. I'm going to leave you with this. The CIA is watching us. On March the 17th of 1978, the United States State Department issued a national security memorandum, number 46. When you go home tonight, I want you to Google NSSM 46. NSSM 46 from the U.S. State Department ordered the CIA to create hostility and division between continental Africans and American Africans. The CIA was ordered by the president to use the media, use the radio, use the newspaper to make Black Africa think Black America hates them, and make Black America think that Black Africa hates you. So we need to understand these divisions we did not create. They were introduced by the white power structure, so we will destroy them because we are working. I close with a quote. And before I close with this quote, I want to give you my cell number now. Take your phone out. Whether you be a continental African or an American African or a Caribbean African or a European African or South Central American African, Canadian or Australian African, South Pacific African. I want you to text Dr. Umar and let me know what your expertise is. Dr. Umar, I'm a midwife. Dr. Umar, I'm an entrepreneurial business startup. Dr. Umar, I'm a nurse, I'm an engineer, I'm a business owner, I do real estate, I've been in Africa for 20 years. Whatever it is you do, let me know. Because if I'm lucky enough to get my citizenship, brothers and sisters, we're going to have some work to do in Africa.
If you've recently been injured in a car accident that wasn't your fault, I've got one question for you. Do you know how to get the maximum
work to do in Africa?
No, you have some work to do and finish here in Delaware with the damn school. But again, this is his hustle, trying to branch it out, make it about Africa so it convolutes when he'll have to have his school up and running. He won't be held accountable for that school if he's talking about Africa, y'all. You hear the hustle? Oh, we got work to do in Africa. Bitch, you got work to do in Delaware. You got work to complete in Delaware, Umar Johnson. You're not getting out of that. We should not donate a dime to you until you open up that damn school. Fuck Africa until you do something in Delaware, officially opening up that school. Fuck Africa.
+1 215 989 9858. I'll repeat it once more. +1.
Again, and then talking about white folks, bunny hopper, trying to be funny and everything, but he's not a married man. He's a whoremonger. He's a gigolo all over the place, showcasing himself with so many different women, talking about wife number 75. Oh, I'm going to get married to 2 wives in Ghana and all this type of bullshit talk. He doesn't have to be a real man. He gets to hide behind Pan-Africanism and pretend and be a fraudster and be a liar. That's what Umar Johnson gets to be. And we have allowed this behavior to be in our community for many, many, many decades with this man. At least 15 years. 15 years is a long time to be settling for a guy who has never done what he said he was supposed to do, and still give him accolades and still give him props and still honor and praise this man. And people are listening to him like he's an authority still. This shit is unreal. This is why a lot of women cannot take you men seriously, because you're jokes. Walking around just talking all the damn time. Not showing not one thing done and complete. And then talking about he moving on to Africa, doing projects over there in Africa, and you ain't finished one in Delaware yet. Bitch, please.
215 989 985. There was a black man by the name of Booker T. Washington. He was born in West Virginia. His mother was raped by the slave master, so She gave birth to Booker T. Booker T wanted a college education, so he walked all the way to Hampton Institute. He couldn't afford the tuition when he got to Hampton Institute, so he asked for an opportunity to plead his way to college. He was given that. After he graduated, the president of Hampton got phone calls from a black community in Tuskegee, Alabama, looking for a black man who can come and teach him how to work, how to build, how to create industry. Booker T took the job. When he got to Tuskegee, there was no school. He had to use an old barn, an old storefront. And when the first class of students showed up in Tuskegee, they asked him, where's our lecture hall? Where's the cafeteria? Where is our dormitory? And Booker T. Washington said, you're standing on it. He made the students roll up their sleeves, and the students of Tuskegee made their own bricks, built their own buildings, made their own clothes, cooked their own food. He inspired Marcus Garvey to build the largest movement in modern history. Booker T. Washington said, I need a science teacher. He heard of a black man named Dr. George Washington Carver. So he entices Dr. Carver to come to Tuskegee from Iowa. When Dr. Carver gets to Tuskegee, he asked George Booker T the same thing the students did. Where's my lecture hall? Where's my cafeteria? Where's my farm? And Booker T. Washington. One son of an enslaved African looking at the son of another enslaved African, and Booker T told Carver, all I have is what you see. Dr. George Washington Carver made no excuses. He went to the trash down off the ski. And out of the garbage, he took plastic. Out of the garbage, he took aluminum. Out of the garbage, he took tin. He took wood. And out of the garbage of college students, that black man gave us more than 400 products for the sweet potato. Out of the garbage of college students, that black man gave us hundreds of products from the sweet potato. Out of the garbage of college students, that black man gave us hundreds of products from the sweet potato. My message is real simple. How is it our ancestors didn't have half of what we got and did it all? And we got 4 times as much as what they did and they didn't done much. The war is psychological, brothers and sisters. Some people don't know Booker T. Washington was a Pan-Africanist. He helped finance the first Pan-African conference. That's why Garvey came to meet with him, not just to build Tuskegee in Jamaica, but because of the Pan-Africanism at Tuskegee. Booker T. Washington had the International Conference on the Negro, where he brought Africans from West Africa to Tuskegee and taught them how to build industry. Even Pan-Africanism has repatriated for a long time, but let us continue to do it. My ancestor, Frederick Douglass, said, in my family was stolen from Africa in 1701. A black man named Bell. He was taken to Maryland to marry a black woman by the name of Selah. My 15-year-old daughter has to leave. In 1745, they had Grandma Jane. In 1774, they had Grandma Betsy. Grandma Betsy was born a slave, but she married a free black man, Grandpa Isaac. They had 12 children. One daughter was named Harriet. Another daughter was named Young Betsy, my father's great-grandmother. These 2 sisters were raped by the white man who owned our family. And in February of 1818, Aunt Harriet gave birth to the greatest black man to ever walk American soil. His name was Frederick Augustus Washington Bell. At the age of 20, cousin Fred ran away from Baltimore, and he changed his name from Fred Bell to Fred Douglass. And in 1819, his half-brother and first cousin, and my 4-time great-grandfather, Stephen Henry Bell, was born. And Grandpa Stephen married Grandma Caroline on the plantation. They had my 3-time great-grandfather, George Washington Bell, who became the first black public school teacher in Denton, Maryland. And when the Civil War started, my grandfather Stephen and George, they fought in the U.S. Armed Troops of Maryland. My cousins Louis and Charles were sons of Frederick, and they fought in the 54th Massachusetts Cavalry. When the Civil War was over, Grandpa George married Grandma Mary. They had Grandma Caroline. She moved to Philadelphia. She had Grandma Vivian. Grandma Vivian married a Spanish-speaking Cuban immigrant. My grandfather Cicero, my great-grandfather Cicero, who I met on his deathbed. And they had my grandma Ida, who we buried 6 years ago. She met and married James Johnson and my father Jerome Johnson. He met and married my mother Barbara in North Philadelphia. And on August the 21st, I was born. Frederick Douglass said, if there is no struggle, there is no progress.
Frederick Douglass was not a Pan-African. In fact, he was totally against the movement back to Africa. I don't know why he continually uses Frederick Douglass in his speeches, his spill or whatever, but again, he's a hustler, a Pan-African froster, and this is the type of rhetoric that we're going to be listening to, him demanding that we unify, become a block of black and all this type of crap. That's what they want him for. That's what they need him for. Let me see what you guys are saying. I can't take a lot of him all at once because he's just doing the most and my nerves can't handle all of that. But again, he has to respect what we say if enough of us says it. And I know that many of us that listen to my platform are not having this Pan-African liar dictate anything at all to us. And that is what I need y'all to do. Continue to be strong in your identity and not allow people to play games. Yes, Derek might have been a troll. One that was in jail for 25 years want to come and preach to me. Unbelievable. We need to cancel the term diaspora. Exactly. We're not a part of no African diaspora. We have our own diaspora. Exactly, Miss D. Exactly. Lynn says he is probably an African born in the USA or Pan-African who wants us to identify as African Americans. They love to try to control our identity. Yes, they do, Lynn. Yes, they do. They will not allow, if we don't strike back, they don't want us to claim our own ownership of our own identity because there's power in that. Claiming our Americanness first. They don't like that. Pan-Africans are anti-Black American. That's what they are. They hate on us for claiming to be American first, but they're going to have to get over themselves. You said no matter how you try to help someone over there, you won't help them. A scammer will benefit. A scammer will benefit. Yeah, they will if you let them. If you give them an opportunity to scam you and target you. Otherland says the only thing that I hear when Umar talks is wah, 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 like that. Like when the grown-ups talked on the Charlie Brown cartoons. I know. Exactly. African Goddess says African diaspora in my mind refers to Africans who are abroad. Exactly. That term is for other groups of people that have left their home country and they are part of that country, that part of that home country. We don't have a home country to claim. You can give us a name and it's not our home country. You just designated a place that's not ours. And I'm not going for that. I'm not part of a diaspora. I'm not African. I'm not a hater. I'm standing up on my square for what is right, for my survival. I am American first. I am of this lineage here of America. There is no other lineage that I should be concerning myself with outside of this lineage here in America. And people really get upset about that. But they're going to have to get over themselves. Them calling me a self-hater or anything like that is not going to make me change my mind. You said you might be right. People always come and start off talking right. Yes, to Daryl Morris, Pinky says. Miss D says they also want to include Black Americans to African Goddess. Yeah, he's a clown. There's billions of Africans on the continent. They need to get together. Exactly. Start there. I understand that it may be a little bit hard because they have all their different languages and all their different cultures and all their customs. But why do you think you can just pimp us and bully us into dealing with Africans? That's just crazy to me. All this time we've been on our lonesome. And because people have decided themselves to include us in a scheme that we're supposed to be partaking in, whether we like it or not, that's how they're coming at us. Like they're our overseers and overlords. And I'm not having that. Pan-Africans need to be on notice that we see what you guys are up to and we're not in agreement to it. We're not going for it. So us declaring our identity, us accepting our ethnogenesis, receiving the fact that we're our own people here of America, that is what we're on moving forward, whether you like it or not. There, let me see. Yes, you may be right. Daryl says to Lynn, they have work to do on the continent, not our problem. Exactly, Misty. I wonder why those women scammed by him won't report him to the law enforcement. Who y'all talking about? Those women scammed by him? Are you talking about Umar? All the people that has given money to his school, I don't know why they're not mad yet. I mean, how long can someone have your money and not produce what he claims he's supposed to produce and nobody get upset about it? Again, he's going to be talking more and more about Africa so that we forget about the school. I'm not going to forget about it. You said, yes, Umar is a clown and his phone number means nothing to people who need help. It won't even get them a bag of chips, but he has access to other women. You see how he can hustle other women, other single women that call that number, talking about, I got some money for you, daddy. Other women that are lonely are gonna call that number and say, hey, King, I got some money for you. Oh, you got some money for me? That's Umar. Okay, here's my P.O. box number. Drop a check off to my P.O. box, or drop some money off to my P.O. box, or send me a present or something. That's how he keeps his hustle going. So he drops his number, knowing damn well he only wants specific people to make that call. People that's talking about money. People that's talking about donations. That's why he dropped that line. Pinky says, put together and do what makes the master plan to scam. Yeah, they do. They keep scamming us. I wish he could move to Africa and scam the Africans and leave us alone. Oh my God. I wish he would just go to Africa, but I already know that he's never going to go. Most of these men that talk the most, they only go visit. That's all they ever do. And talk all that shit. All those years. 15 years is a long time for talking. That's a long time to be talking. On the land says, yes, that's how you know people are frauds. They won't let their own people, but will set up scams to help others. Exactly. That's the bottom line. Bless other people and use the other people that are being scammed. Pinky says, how can you scam a master scammer? Yes, we can only hope that Trump deports Umar so he can live an Africa dream. I wish he would just be impressed by those women over there and leave, but I know he's not going to leave because he got too many women over here. Len says, you're right. Those Africans are master scammers. They will scam Umar. Oh, yeah. Pinky says they will get him before he leaves. You know, he ain't leaving with too much. But he's going to be wanting to get donations. So, you know, he think he a pimp. Other Land says, notice all that Umar has talked about there. His ancestors being slaves, raped, etc., so that Africans can see all of that history are being that. Pinky says, yes, I was going to mention that earlier, but I said no. Lynn says, we only hope that Trump will deport him. Is Umar an anchor baby? I think he has Cuban in him. I don't know what else he has, but he has Cuban in him. Okay. I try to minimize my YouTube. Okay. Pinky said. Otherland says, yes, he can't go to Africa and talk about the free indigenous Americans who built this country. He wants the Africans to see all of us as raped equals slaves. Exactly. I feel Umar can demand everything he wants, but we men and women have our own minds. I feel Umar can demand everything he wants. He can demand whatever he wants, but he ain't going to get it. People that at this point that listen to Umar Johnson, after all this time, you are a freaking fool. Otherland says, no, I think Umar has just run down his lineage and being slaves on a plantation years ago, probably to keep his ass from being deported. Yes, we have our own minds, but some vulnerable people might fall for Umar's scams. Exactly. Or they need to feel connected because they're lonely or because they are isolated or something. They are prone to these movements and these trends, such as Pan-Africanism, because they don't know no better. And they don't see how Pan-Africanism is used as a tool to abuse Americans, to abuse Black Americans. That's what it does. It takes advantage of us. Okay? They need to gather up all those fleeing Africans who were trying to identify as Black Brits, Black Americans, Black Canadians, Irish, etc., to help build Africa. Well, we're about to see what's about to happen with these mass deportations. That's what we're about to see, y'all. Ready or not, Trump's on the way. And I'm kind of looking forward to seeing what's going to be and report that finding for y'all. So I hope that you guys will hit the like button and share and subscribe to my channel. Pinky says, yes, the woman scammed by Umar. I seen a video where one woman was being blocked from getting close to him by other men. She said he owed her money. I wouldn't doubt it. He probably said, I'll pay you back. I just want to borrow money. We are not African. We are Americans. We owe Africa nothing, Lynn says. Exactly. People are not mad at Umar because they are embarrassed to admit they have been slammed or shammed and scammed. Exactly. Oh, you said like as far as like getting dick down by Umar, you think? I think Umar Johnson has a lot of women he's been running through. He just looked like the type that would do that. Miss D says there is a video on X saying Black Americans should help fight Biafran war in Nigeria. Yeah, right. I think the man saying that this was in America, but not sure. Isn't that a trip? Trying to volunteer us to help fight in a war. I wish we would. Otherland says, yes, that's probably what Dr. Ericana was suggesting. We fight over there. Exactly. Not going to happen. That's what I'm talking about. So let's finish up the rest of his little stupid speech that he gave that wasn't impressive. But of course, he's talking about we all African. And that's all the Africans like to hear because they want to have ownership over us so bad. They want to be able to tell us what to do so bad.
Politics means nothing without the man who never did and he never will. Find out if any people will quietly submit to it, and you have found the exact measure of injustice that will be used against them. And he said these injustices will continue until they are resisted with words, with blows, or with oaths. But politics means nothing without it. It never affects the white people when all you did is win. A man with self-respect don't need no opinion. Sherman Douglas said it's better to raise strong children than to repair broken youth. The Honorable Marcus Garvey said, without confidence in yourself, you are twice defeated in the race of life. So with confidence you have won, even before you have started. Marcus Garvey was once asked, are you an African or are you a Jamaican? Are you an African or are you a Jamaican? And the leader of the largest Black organization in our region, who inspired Kwame Nkrumah, who inspired the Nambi Azikiwe, who inspired Alakai Cabral, Thomas Sankara, Robert Sabukwe. He looked up and said, you asked me, am I African or am I Jamaican? I tell you simply this, I would never ever give up a continent for an identity. I am African. Long way 33
Taking a picture with a failure, a man that has not done what he said he was supposed to do 15 years ago. And people still propping this man up as if he did something, like he actually has a running school right now. This is so pathetic.
Pictures with Dr. Umar will be available at the end of the evening. He would like to enjoy everyone at the same time, so please respect that and allow him to enjoy this evening. You all have a good time. So what I like to do.
So since he did that little stupid speech, y'all, he's feeling himself. He is so feeling himself. Now he got all these videos talking about he's popular in Ghana. Hold on, let me play this. Hold up, come on. By the way, please hit the like if you could. I would greatly appreciate it.
So I just got word they want me at the inauguration for the new president tomorrow. I just got word they want me at the inauguration. Where my Ghanaian Africans at? Let the whole Ghana know that the Prince of Pan-Africanism is pulling up tomorrow to the inauguration of the newly elected president of the Republic of Ghana. I'm turning up and turning out with my fellow citizens of the Republic of Ghana. The most honorable Marcus Garvey is celebrating. Oh, yes. What y'all think of this outfit, family? Ghanaian style? Since I'm a new citizen of the country, King Kong consciousness, got my citizenship today. You feel me? I gotta look the part. My Ghanaian ancestors need me to look the part, to dress the part. King Kong. What y'all thinking, ladies? Talk to me. I'm talking to the Ifatunde Queendom. What y'all thinking? Y'all feeling this white one? Is this one better than the white one I wore today? What y'all thinking? Y'all feeling that? Don't be worrying about my snacks. Don't be worrying about my snacks, family. Leave my snacks alone, family. Leave my snacks alone, family.
Are we serious, y'all? Lord have mercy. This man is he's such a gnat to me. He is gonna be all over the YouTube talking about his trip, talking about what we need to do. He's gonna be calling himself like empowering the Pan-Africans to come after us even more. So we got to be on our square and understand what we're up against. This is what he's on, Ghana.
am a citizen of Ghana. I did not need white man paperwork. I got black man paperwork. I am a citizen of Ghana. I did not need white man paperwork. I got black man paperwork. Talk to me, ladies. Talk to me, ladies. What we doing? Ifa Tunde Queendom. What we doing? Am I looking like a true Ghanaian? Where my Ghanaian queens at?
He really thinks he's a pimp, y'all. He's been pimping so many different women for so long. He's so accustomed to talking to women any kind of way and being a gigolo to these women. Where is his wife at? Where is his children at? Where is his family at? Again, he's just nothing more than a whoremonger and gigolo, a passport bro, amplified with the name Pan-Africanist. Nothing that he does remotely proves what he says he's going to do. And yet he's over there in Ghana getting all these accolades, all these rewards and thought that he is a leader and giving him the big up to come after us, basically, to be a thorn in our side as usual.
Elmina queens, my Cape Coast queens, my Accra queens, my Volta region queens. We're my Nigerian queens, my Togolese queens, my Benin queens, my Cameroonian queens, my Congolese, my Liberian, my Gambian queens. We're my Mali queens, my Burkina Faso, my Texas queens, my Jersey queens, my Jamaica queens, my Bahamas queens, my Philly queens, my Oakland, Houston, Detroit, Chicago queens. We're my Toronto queens, my London queens, my Paris queens, my Queensland, Australia queens, my Sydney, Australia queens. Y'all like the outfit? Do y'all like the outfit?
He don't have to be serious about nothing. He doesn't have to be serious about that school. Nobody checks him about the school. They just let him slide. And this is why, this stupid Pan-African talk. It just lets you just glide and slide and hide and lie. This is what he does. 2025, he needs to be canceled, y'all. Cancel Umar Johnson. Stop giving this man donations. Stop listening to this man.
Ladies, do y'all like the outfit? I gotta look the part. I'm a Ghanaian now. I am a proud citizen of the Republic of Ghana. My Ashanti Queen, Gifted Love 77. Something about that white is popping, Essence Bliss. Something about that. I'm going to have two queens. One of them got to be from Ghana. I'm going to have two queens. One of them going to have to be from Ghana or Nigeria. I'm going to have a West African wife because I'm a citizen of West Africa. I'm going to have a West African wife because I'm a citizen of West Africa. I said I'm going to have a West African wife because I'm a citizen of West Africa.
When is he going to have the school up? He doesn't even have to mention the school. That's how disrespectful he has gotten and comfortable he's gotten. Just comfortable, just being whatever. Doesn't have to prove anything, just yap. That's all Pan-Africans do is just yap all the time, trying to get your money for something. That's all they do. They're worthless.
Wifey resumes is back on for Ghana, Nigeria, Togo, Benin, Gambia. Wifey resumes is back on for the continent. One queen must be from the continent because I'm a citizen now. She's going to be my executive secretary on the continent. She will be my Amy Jakes Garvey. She will be my Amy Ashwood Garvey. She will be my Adelaide Casely Hayford. Yes, sir. Give me a few minutes. Give me a few minutes. I'm gonna drop some money. I got a class I gotta jump on real quick. Okay. Tomorrow morning, we talked to the PA for the president. For the president's wife. So we have clearance for the inauguration for tomorrow. What time? Well, she's going to be there early to get our seats. She wants us to be there at 8 a.m. What time we leaving here? Okay. So if you wanted to go with us, I just wanted to give you that info because I'm going to be in class for the next hour and a half. Okay, there's E I'm talking to, right? I'm talking to Uncle Eric, right? I'm talking to Uncle Eric. Okay, I wanted to make sure that was you. I got you. 7 o'clock. All right, then. Good luck. Yes, sir. So I just got word they want me at the inauguration for the new president tomorrow. I just got word they want me at the inauguration. Where my Ghanaian Africans at? Let the whole Ghana know that the Prince of Pan-Africanism is pulling up tomorrow to the inauguration of the newly elected president of the Republic of Ghana. I'm turning up and turning out with my fellow citizens of the Republic of Ghana. The most honorable Marcus Garvey is celebrating. Oh yes, Henry Highland Garnett is celebrating. Thomas Sankara, the Nnamdi Azikiwe, Dedan Kamathi, Steve Biko, Robert Sobukwe, Julius Nyeri, Eduardo Mondlane, Samara Michelle, Ahmed Sekou Touré.
A fucking joke, y'all. But this is what we got going on. This man needs to be canceled. He needs to be pulled to the side and sat the fuck down and shut the fuck up. I'm sick of him. He's gotten away with just anything that he does, and he pulls this Pan-African bullshit, and everybody forgets about the school. It's like it's hypnosis to people. It's like he's putting people to sleep. I don't get it. I don't understand why he is still prancing about, laughing and smiling and all that. I don't get it. But we don't have standards, and we don't hold these men accountable. And we need to start holding these men accountable. I mean, when are we going to start? Isn't it a good time to start now? Isn't it a good time to start now? I think so.
El Haj Ali El Shabazz, Stokely Carmichael Kwame Ture, Walter Rodney. The Pan-Africanists are back. We back, baby. Pan-Africanism is back. All that other stuff is whack. I said Pan-Africanism is back. All that other stuff is whack. I said Pan-Africanism is back. All that other stuff is whack. I'm pulling up to the, what color should I wear to the inauguration?
And we are the other stuff that he's calling whack. And he's going to be sadly mistaken when he gets back to America talking this Pan-African talk. And this is why I wanted to talk about him. I hope that you guys would do me a favor by hitting the like button. This man needs to be canceled. We had an ethnogenesis, and it is power of ownership of our ethnicity that I am talking about, that we as indigenous Americans need to claim and not allow Pan-Africans and foreigners to have anything to do with our identity, with what we're going to call ourselves. It's not African. What we're going to do with our life and our money, it's not about Africa first. It's about America first. That's what it is, whether they like it or not. That's what it is. Let me see, where was I? And then I'm going to close after reading these comments. I appreciate everybody for listening. Let me see. Yeah, I wish she could be deported, though. You said the victims of Umar's school scam should file a class action lawsuit against him. Oh, that's a good idea. But many of these women are single women with kids, and they really probably been mesmerized by the man, and many of them probably were ran through by that man. I would not be surprised if stories came out about him being with so many women. I would not be surprised, having other kids and everything. I hope this year brings out a lot of truths in regards to Umar Johnson to shut him down. I hope people to start speaking up and getting tired of him being everywhere talking. Yes, the woman scammed by Umar. I seen a video where one woman was being blocked from getting close to him. Oh yeah, I read that. Saying that he owed her money. Yes, we are Americans. I can't believe they said we should fight in a war in Nigeria. Yeah, you're right. There are over 200 million, Lynn, of Nigerians. They need to fight their own wars, but they don't want to do so. Other Land says for blacks. So this is why what you've said about the importance of self-identifying is important. It keeps us from falling prey to the scammers and foreigners. Exactly. It adds a layer of protection. Umar was caught spending on a stripper, and he did a video acting like he was marrying two women. He once said he need a woman at a time. I know. He's a gigolo, Miss D. Definitely a gigolo. The guy saying this was Nigerian, Miss D says. Lynn says, I noticed these Africans and Pan-Africans keep looking for ways to genocide us. Exactly. They are diabolical people who hate indigenous Black Americans. They really do. They want to take over our place, Lynn. Not all, but too many Pan-Africans and Africans act like that against us. Too many. Yes, Umar is definitely a real hoe, Miss D. Bafara been over for about 40 plus years or more. Well, whatever wars are going over there in Nigeria, we're not going to be there to fight it. And I don't even know why they would think that we would want to fight in other people's wars. Miss D says, yeah, I heard African goddess, this guy wanted us to fight to help them win, Lord. Other Land says, Umar is ridiculous, and all those supporters should be ashamed of themselves for not calling him out for his scams. Exactly. Just letting him just glide on by. He's just laughing and smiling and talking shit to us. Can you believe that? He gets to get out of scamming, get away with scamming, to talk shit to Black Americans, indigenous to America. Unbelievable. So the American scammer Umar going to be there with the scamming Ghanaian government. Wow, yeah. So you know when he gets back, he's going to be more encouraged, because probably the money he's going to get for visiting Ghana, ain't no telling how much money he's going to get. So he's going to have a chip on his shoulder. He's going to be talking more shit to us, I bet. Watch. I'm thinking you look like Pillsbury Boy. Who are you talking to? Okay. Lynn says these Africans and Pan-Africans have our name in their mouth. I'm sick of them. I wish they would go to Africa and live their lives and leave us alone. And that would be a nice thing to do, Lynn, but a lot of them can't seem to forget about us. Right now, Khazarian Empire is having a whole stream on us all day long. He's been talking about us, and every day he gets a chance, just like Aphrodite and all these other African content creators. They can't help themselves, I guess, from talking about us solely. It's just something that they have to do, like they have been bitten by something. I don't know. He said the true people of Ghana are probably laughing at Umar. I bet you they are. They need to be. But he's a useful fool. That's what he is, a useful fool. Pinky, you feeling like Umar's snacks? Easy axe. Other Land says Patriot Watcher was okay. They were asking if Umar was going to one of those Diddy's white parties. Pinky says to Patriot Watcher, when you get to that Diddy party, keep your hands off the children. Everyone else is fair game. Oh, my life. Lynn says the Ghanaians know that Pan-Africanism keep money in their pockets from tourism. Yes, that's why they want to keep on preaching Go touch down and see about Africa. I really think Umar has mental illness, but he's funny. I think he's arrogant. I think he's a narcissist. I really can't. I don't like nothing about that man like that. Otherland says Umar should give up his white man's American passport and stay in Ghana. Wouldn't that be something? I'm glad he's doing this shit in Africa and to Africans. Then here in SA, Easy X, he's going to come back with the same bullshit, but even more once he leaves Ghana, because people are going to be giving him money and pushing his button to say more to us. Watch. That's why we need to shut him down. Umar will never live in Ghana or Africa. He will push Africa on the naive. It's all for show for him to keep scamming. Exactly. Pan-Africans are being paid to push Pan-Africanism. Yes. I know there are some women in the chat want some of Umar's snacks. Oh, Lord. Women say anything will be attacked and called bitter, angry, hurt. The men don't check each other. No, they don't, Pinky. He's doing this to attract gullible indigenous Americans. The Africans are probably laughing at him. Mike TV is the only one that I have heard checking him. Oh, yeah, I like that video of him talking about Umar Johnson. There are a couple of other, Leon, Lennon Honor does. There are a couple of other people that I've seen talking about Umar recently. There's going to be a guy by the name of Black Alpha. Let me see. What is his name again? Black Alpha Network. He's supposed to talk about Umar later today, too, I saw. Otherland says Umar is also trying to plant the seed that indigenous Americans should marry Africans, probably to aid those migrants who will soon be deported. Oh, yeah. That bum Umar wants to marry women, but only has snacks to give them. Exactly. Pan-Africanism is dead, period, Umar, Miss D says. Pinky says to Lynn TV, checks them all, but one night I heard him talking to another man. He doesn't like us calling ourselves native. He's of an Indian tribe, and you don't have the paperwork. You're not from here. Okay. Also heard Mike TV tell that man his end goal is to unite the diaspora around the world. That's one thing I don't really care for Mike on. He uses the word diaspora as if it really exists in our world. We're not a part of the diaspora. And he kind of like includes us weirdly when he says the diaspora. We don't have a diaspora. We're not from Africa. We don't have a home country to claim. I wish that we as Black Americans wouldn't use the word diaspora at all. Otherland says exactly, he's trying to resurrect Pan-Africanism. Yep, they all are. Len says we are the only people who have been paper genocide. We were reclassified to Indians, Negroes, Coloreds, Blacks, Afro-African, African Americans, etc. Exactly. Freedmen and everything else. Pinky says Umar in his white suit looks like Pillsbury. Oh, Doughboy. Oh, you're talking about that outfit. Otherland says, if you click on my channel's name, you'll see the original picture of American Indian. They were most of our ancestors. LOL. Yes, he does look like a doughboy, but he's the scam boy. Right, can't leave us alone, Pinky says. And Black Alpha Network is also one that told us to vote the couch. I wish he wouldn't have done that, because we basically let all other people decide our fate. For the ones that didn't vote at all, they just allowed the fate of whatever happened. Luckily, Trump was chosen. Can you imagine if Kamala was the one that we were waiting on to become president? I would be really out of my mind right now. Thank God she is not going near the Oval Office, but we still have some days to go. 13 days to go. We are not part of any African diaspora, Lynn says. Exactly. So I I don't want to subscribe to anything of that talk. We don't have a country that we can claim, and I don't want nobody giving me some country to claim. You know, it's not my home. It's not my home country, so I don't want nobody pushing that off on us. So with that being said, you guys, I've been on here long enough. If you guys could please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I probably would be doing another total different topic because I have been talking about Umar Johnson for a while, but the reason why I'm talking about him the most is because he has been in Ghana for over 2 weeks. He is again targeting us over there in Ghana. And when he gets back, he more than likely will continue to target us. So we have to do our due diligence and fight back against his rhetoric of claiming that we're African and claiming that we belong to Africa and claiming that we're beholden and we owe Africans. Like, that is not what we're doing. No one is signing up for that. You should get the Africans, Umar, and other Pan-Africans should get the Africans involved. What is wrong with y'all talking to Africans about Africa? Stop sparing them and talk to them and leave us the fuck alone. We already let y'all know in so many words we're not interested. And people are still talking shit to us as if we got to do what they say. Again, they're irritants. They're going to continue to be irritants to us because it is an agenda. And we have to push back again because these people would like to become us and replace us. And it's unfortunate that they try to use Jedi tricks on us and tell us that us having any semblance of respect and pride in America means we're self-haters. But this is all that we know, and this is all that I care to know. That's just it. I have nothing against Africans or Africa, but I'm just not wanting to be force-fed Africa. And I hope that people would start respecting our position as Indigenous Americans who only know of America. That is our prerogative to stay the way we've been. We don't want to change for other people, for other agendas and other movements. It doesn't have nothing to do with benefiting us. It's about using us and spitting us out later. It's about trying to gain some type of control and rulership over us. And if you can name somebody, you can acquire ownership. And that's why our name is so important. That's why people really are fighting tooth and nail and arguing and debating and cussing and acting a fool and threatening all these things over our identity, because they all know that the ownership of our name is what everybody is seeking for. But we, as Indigenous Americans, should claim our own identity and have ownership of our own identity. We should not leave it to foreigners and Pan-Africans to have control over our name and over ownership of our identity. So I hope that this message would be received where it needs to be. I hope that people would like and share the video and subscribe to my channel. I'm not meant to be divisive, but look, everybody has their own identity and nobody's having an issue with other people having identities. They're just having a problem with Black Americans, Indigenous to America, having their own specific identity. So y'all gonna have to figure that one out for me, because I am stumped. So with that being said, please like and share the video. And let me see before I go if there's a couple of more comments, and then I got to take my dog back out. But oops, hold on, what did I do? You said fighting over our identity. It's wild. No one else is subjected to this ish. Exactly. He couldn't shake her hand, Tammy says. How you doing, Tammy? Thank you for coming through. You said Easy X, the man, is the husband of a freshman senator, and he walks with a cane and holding a Bible in the other. And Pinky says, Africans and Caribbeans, we are not you, and it's okay. Please, hands off. Yes. Did you see the guy refuse to shake hands with Kamala yesterday? No, I didn't see that. Pinky says, I seen Mike TV in someone else's chat. I asked him about the diaspora-ish, and he lied and said he didn't say it. I told him I heard what he said. He denied it. I hear him say it all the time. I hear him say that word all the time, and it irks me. We're not a part of the diaspora. It's like he's playing both sides, and he needs to stop doing that because it's not a benefit for us to be considered a diaspora. Diaspora of what country? You going to designate a spot for me to go to? I'm good. How's everyone doing? Oh, we're doing good. We're about to wrap up the live, though, but I appreciate seeing you again, Tammy Pierce. Do you have a song you want to hear since you came in just now? If there's a song that you want to hear, let me know. Of the Land says, thanks for visiting the live. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thumbs up. Thank you. Pinky says, a lot of religious people are the worst. Lynn says, they are trying to claim our history and culture because theirs is not relevant in the United States or worldwide. Exactly. They're trying to revamp a storyline. Again, if you sold one of my ancestors from Africa, I am my ancestor. You have nothing to do with my ancestor. I am those ancestors of old. They're no longer here. They're buried a long time ago. I am the embodiment of my ancestor. Stop trying to claim people that y'all sold and discarded like trash. Africans trying to claim so-called Africans to benefit off of us is deplorable. But that's what they do. They have no decency. They have no integrity to themselves. They know damn well the people that came to America are not their people. They were so, remember, stripped of everything. They had to remake themselves over again and evolved into what we are today in this ethnogenesis. So for Africans to claim our ancestors is what I don't really appreciate at all either. I don't appreciate that. I guess, Tammy, you don't have a song you want to listen to? If not, I'm going to go. I'm going to give you one more minute, and I'm going to thank everybody in the clouds that have been watching. If you've been here this whole time, thank you for sticking it out with me this whole time. I hope that people understand that it is my view that indigenous Americans, the Black so-called folk that have been here only in America, that know only of America, we have the right this day and age in 2024 to declare our own identity. Lord sees how the transgender people get to name themselves and they still have bodily parts that's still attached. Why can't we name ourselves? And we should name ourselves. So it's a wonderful thing to have people declare their identity, even if it's not what I declare my name to be. I like FBA, but I just don't care for Tariq solely, like mostly. I like some of the things that he says, but some things I don't really agree with. So I can't rock with FBA because it seems like too much is on one person and not really known outside of YouTube. So I declared my identity about 3-4 years ago as Indigenous Black American. You said, Pinky, you know where's my church is. Many people have been saved there. Okay. So anyways, thank you for coming through, Tammy Pierce. I guess you didn't want to hear a song. Of the Land says, stay warm for all those living in the storm zones. Winterize your homes with draft strips, heavy or extra curtains, blankets, etc. Africans are using FBA also. Isn't that funny? They don't know how to leave our shit alone. So yeah, I've seen some people claiming that they could be FBA too. It's sad. Africans, Caribbeans, please know you have your own. Oh, I'm sorry to hear your husband's not feeling well. I hope you feel better. I hope he feels better. Thank you for coming by, though. I appreciate you. I'll play a song for you to help your husband out. How about that? Hold on. Let me get a song for you. Africans never came to get anyone they sold. They whacked for doing that by Africans. Wow. I really never thought about it like that. Let me see if I can play a song for Tammy. I'll play a song for you. Let me see. That's another one. Hold on for a minute. I had a song already that I picked earlier, and I hope I didn't delete it. Today is Tuesday. We have 13 days to go, you guys, before Trump's going to be in office. I can't believe how fast time has flown. But yeah, it's flown. Ready or not, here he comes. Okay, I'm going to play. I don't know if you know this group or not, but I Call Your Name by Switch. I'll play that.
I used to think about immature things. You know, like, do you love me? Do you want me? Are you gonna call me like you said you would? Is this really your real phone number? But you know, I'm a man now, baby, a grown man. And I came a long way. The spirits taught me one thing. Taught me to hold on to my love. Sometimes I just can't help thinking living without you, baby. See, sometimes I just can't live crying about you, baby. I'm not worried about a doggone